Hello, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran, and I'm here with River Brown, Andrew Velez, and Joe Dehls. This is now episode 326. In this episode, we are joined by PeeWeeDaPlug to talk about the Bucks, the new look Sixers, the Timberwolves, the Rockets, and we're going to draft players under 25. How you doing, Pierre? Long time no see.
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing well. I'm doing how I look. Fine. How y'all doing?
I'm doing good, man. I can't complain too much, man. New Call of Duty came out today. Ready to lock in on that after we finish up this show. We got some in-season tournament play. That's exciting to watch after this too. But I'm definitely excited to talk some basketball. Some good basketball we've been able to watch so far.
We got the Kid Leroy dropping an album. I don't know why everyone hating
man.
so
too
much,
many,
man.
Too many casuals,
go lock into
man.
the Kid Leroy.
Too many casuals.
Why do you think they hit on him?
I don't know, man.
I feel like it's like the cool thing to do. Like it's everyone's hating on the Kid Leroy. So if you're indifferent, just be like, nah, he sucks.
You know, when they used to hate on Bieber. You know, back in the day, they used to hate on Bieber because
Leroy's Bieber.
They felt uncomfortable. He's the modern Bieber. He's nowhere near the level of
him
Bieber.
as Bieber.
But that's who he's supposed to be.
I feel like he actually like raps and shit.
What you think about Kid Leroy?
I like him.
Like him?
Yeah, I bump him. I bump him a lot. I like him. That's my
You fuck with the Kid Leroy or what? Not really.
Nah, he's good. I fuck with his flow. I fuck with his style.
He's tough.
Yeah. What about you, Pierre? What do you think about? What do you think about Leroy?
I haven't really dove in like that, but when I have heard him, he's been cool.
I respect that.
But I don't really formulate opinions on artists and people who I haven't. I think you really got to dive in before you can.
That's fine.
Articulate.
I'd rather that. There's so many people that don't listen to Kid Leroy and are just chatting on his name just because. Again,
biggest pet peeve.
That's
hate
a
people
fact.
who speak on artists and they don't even know.
It's like watching a basketball or not watching a basketball game and coming up here and
Looking
talking
at the
about a
box
game
score.
you didn't watch. It's the same shit. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I hate that, bro. I hate that because a person can drop a song and have a popular song, but their catalog and they act like the single sometimes to me is the worst song on the album.
Spitting.
So it's like if you don't listen to the album, you don't really know. So you got to really. So I hate when people do that. So I don't really know. I haven't really dove into them. I don't know if it's my type of shit that I would constantly listen to every day, but when I have heard, it's been. I get it. I can say that I get it.
That's a fact.
I get it.
It's very catchy. It's episode 326. We went live for this one. We usually don't go live, but moving forward, we will start going live.
I love to hear
what
that.
better way to start it than having Pierre on the show for the live show. Listen, Pierre, you've been doing amazing things. You just dropped your new podcast, The Heliocentric.
Heliocentric, man.
And you're already on the charts. You passed your boy, Paul George.
I passed Paul George, but the Through the Wire community is incredible. I just wanted to see my name on the charts. I was just trying to get, in the back end, and they ended up getting me pretty high. So that was dope. But yeah, just stepping out, doing new things. Why not? We got a lot of big things coming. You know what I'm saying? So ending the year right, going into 2024, better than ever. So yeah, I appreciate that though.
Congratulations to that. Now, the first topic of the show that we're going to get into is LeBron James. What better way than to start a show with LeBron James, the arguably greatest basketball player of all time? Now, he said, I think I would still be at this level no matter what, if I would have came here or not, when he spoke about the Miami Heat. Now, Riv, do you agree with this statement that LeBron would have still been where he is right now had he never went to Miami?
You didn't start with the LeBron guy. I find that very interesting.
I know his opinion.
Do you?
Yes.
I'm interested to see. I'm very interested to see what he meant by that. Like, did he mean
man.
he means like he would still be at the level as being the greatest player ever? Did he mean he'll still be at that top tier elite level? Like, I think I would love to pick his brain on that. But in my opinion, I think he'll still be at the top of the game because I think even if you take away, because the most important part of that Miami run was him getting those championships. Because I feel like before that, his career was cemented, same way how it was with MJ. Like, they were cemented before the rings. They were already being considered the best on the planet before the rings. So when he got to Miami, he had that slump the first year. The whole criticism on him was, can he win a championship? Can he win the big one? And Miami gave him that. But even after that, he showed with rosters that are not as talented, with guys that are not as talented, he could still get that done or still even get there. I mean, after Miami, he dominated the East and then went to the West and won a ring. So I think, like, he has all, like, it's LeBron James. He can say whatever he wants, and we shouldn't really bat an eye at this point. At this point, he has the proper evidence after Miami to really say that, because he still built a whole separate career after Miami, even without that. But I think, he makes a good point. Like even if you take away Miami, you still put his career together and you still have those years, he'd still probably be considered at worst a top 5 player ever. So I see what he's saying. I agree.
Right. He would have less rings if he didn't go to Miami, but he tweeted this out trying to clarify some things. Legion of Hoops, he quote tweeted it saying, LeBron says he'd be just as dominant if he never left Miami. He says, you're damn right. I still would be. I'm chosen. Ain't nothing changing that. Maybe less rings, but dominant from start to finish. If we're talking about dominance, absolutely. He was dominant before the Heat. He was dominant after the Heat. When we're talking about legacy, of course, Miami heightens that because he has the championships. He got 2 with Miami, the most that he has with a singular team. But again, if we're going to talk about dominant, there's maybe one other more dominant player than him in the history of the game, and that is Shaquille O'Neal. And outside of that, from after we've seen LeBron James, we've seen Giannis. Of course, we understand that he's dominant in his own right. He's probably in that top 3 conversation for most dominant. But again, LeBron James is able to assert himself in whichever way he can. He is the offensive system. He is the system in general, regardless. We've seen, like Riv just mentioned, he leaves Miami, goes back home to Cleveland, delivers a championship, goes out west and delivers another championship to a city that had been looking for one since 2010. So, of course, you may know my answer. Again, I'm with you. I'm with LeBron. He would not have as many rings. But without Miami, we're still talking about one of the greatest we've ever seen, period.
Yeah, to me, LeBron, if you're looking at all of his stints, Miami's probably, in terms of the team he had around him, I'm more impressed that he won the chip in Cleveland. I'm more impressed that his late 30s, mid 30s at the time, I guess, winning the chip in 2020 with the Lakers. So I think he's right. He probably would have had less championships, joining the big 3, forming the big 3. At the time, it was looked at as a cop-out move. It was looked at as, LeBron James needs Dwayne Wade. He needs Chris Bosh and all these role players to be able to go and win that championship. And while at the time you could say that's true, obviously he's proven that to be, basically a null point at this point, right? We know how great LeBron is. We know he would have won a championship regardless of D Wade or Chris Bosh. They go up and form in Miami. So he's still going to be looked at as one of the best players of all time. And if you think differently, I would love to hear that argument that he somehow doesn't, end up in the top 5 or top 10 without those 2 championships in Miami. But to me, that the Miami section seems like the least important to LeBron's career in terms of the whole landscape of the NBA and the player movement. That was definitely a huge stepping stone to where we are today. But in terms of LeBron's career, I'm looking at the chip in Cleveland, with the second step with Cleveland, obviously, and the chip in LA, as these are why we're looking at LeBron as arguably the greatest player of all time, not when he had D Wade and Chris Bosh on his team there in Miami.
What do you think, Pierre?
Silliness. The conversation is just silly to me. LeBron James was good without Miami. Yeah, I don't know. LeBron James, we were talking about LeBron James being one of the greatest ever while he was in his first stint with Cleveland. I don't know if people remember or if people was watching basketball then, but it's just an interesting thing to think how would people talk about LeBron James. Not necessarily the greatness of with that conversation, because when he went to the Heat, it just made it a lot easier for people to throw out that hate. So before that, you didn't really have an excuse. You just were a hater. But then people were able to use their hate as like, oh, but he did that. It's killing the game. So I would love to just know how people would talk about him and perceive him without that part of it. But LeBron James is LeBron James. The tweet said itself, he is the chosen one. Since day one, he's been that. And the championships in Miami are cool, but I really like the one in Cleveland.
The Cleveland championship is what cemented him because it was the first championship he brought to Cleveland in a very, very long time. I do think he had a maturation process with the Miami Heat.
For sure.
He went 2-2 in the finals with the Heat. And I look back to that time in history, 2010 free agency, and I look at the teams that LeBron met with. The Nets, because of Jay-Z, they didn't have a roster to compete. The Knicks, we didn't get him, so our consolation prize was Amari Stoudemire. The Heat was one of those teams, and he met with the Bulls. I actually think there's a what-if scenario that if LeBron doesn't go to the Miami Heat, he could arguably have an even greater case if he goes to the Chicago Bulls. If he went to the Bulls, Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah were on rookie contracts. Dwayne Wade met with the Bulls, and he told them that Chris Bosh, him, and LeBron are interested in teaming up with Chicago. We're talking about a Bulls team that could have featured Derrick Rose, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Joakim Noah. That team is far too talented to underachieve, I should say, quote unquote, underachieve like the Heat did. I think they win a championship that first year together. We don't know how Derrick Rose's career turns out. Maybe he becomes healthy. Maybe he doesn't get an ACL injury in the playoffs. So I'm looking at LeBron and I'm saying if he doesn't go to Miami, well, he would have had the freedom to pick wherever else he wanted to go and win a championship. And I think that wherever else he would have went, he would have most likely won a championship. But if that scenario with the Bulls happened, I mean, that's arguably one of the greatest, biggest what ifs in NBA history. And that would have been a dominant team.
Right up there with if KD would have went to the Celtics instead of the Warriors, man. Never know what could have happened.
Paul George and LeBron would have teamed up in Cleveland, man.
Melo slid to the Bulls in 2012.
No, but that Bulls what if is pretty nuts. But again, this conversation becomes Nolan.
You don't like it, P?
No, absolutely not. I hate it. It disgusts me.
Why does it disgust you?
Because the Derrick Rose story makes me feel so much better. I love, as a Chicagoan, I just love Derrick Rose being the pick, the MVP, blossoming to that. Even with all the injuries, I prefer that than LeBron coming, stunting his growth, because that would have been inevitable. And Derrick Rose just being another guard that was cool, but next to LeBron. So
that's interesting.
I like hitting Derrick Rose, hitting the pinnacle.
Do you think LeBron stunted Kyrie's growth?
No, because Kyrie is not the same basketball player as Derrick Rose.
In terms of the ways that they can score the basketball, of course, explosiveness. I'm with you there.
Two different basketball players, not even remotely close.
But both need the ball in their hands to succeed.
Who?
Kyrie Irving and Derrick Rose.
I disagree. I think Kyrie Irving can play without the basketball 10 times better than Derrick Rose.
But in this situation, we saw Kyrie Irving's biggest moment in his career be in isolation. Obviously, we know he's an elite isolation basketball player.
That's one moment. I
that entire
I don't
series,
consume basketball. Yeah, they took turns, but it was able to work with flow. Rhythm is a big part of basketball, and Kyrie Irving is not a guy who just needs to pound. They can play off of each other very effectively, especially because his shooting prowess, when they did their two-man game, opened up a lot versus Derrick Rose strength not being him and Derrick Rose and LeBron. They have the same type of strength where they're going to be interior scorers.
Definitely.
And then you add in Joakim Noah. That's super clogged up. So something in Chicago wasn't going to be there.
D Rose and D Wade, they like the same player.
I know what you're saying.
The spacing would have been jacked up.
They still were able. He probably would have stunted growth. I don't know. That's tough for me to say because we saw what
Derrick Rose is not an MVP next to LeBron James, bro. So that stunts his growth. I don't know. What are we talking about? You think Derrick Rose is the MVP next to LeBron James?
Probably not, because of course LeBron James would be the best player on his team.
Then it's stunted. The growth is stunted.
He's not an MVP, but I do think that
he's still a great. He
may become a better player down the line. Maybe in the short term, you're not seeing the results, but once Dwayne Wade starts to fall off a little bit, and now it becomes more of Derrick Rose's team
for him to get better.
If D Wade, because then he's the third. He's the third option. Agreed.
There's no room for me.
And I'm also not even factoring Dwayne Wade coming. I'm just looking.
I'm
at
not
LeBron
either.
Going.
I'm not either.
You think it's just LeBron going to Chicago?
I'm just looking at that's too many ifs. Agreed. They get LeBron and Wade, and they got Rose and
whole new Bosh too. That becomes a lot. I'm only thinking
the thing is like when Derrick Rose MVP is probably, it may not be the most exciting, but it's probably the most like emotional weightlifting MVP. Like that MVP still holds weight 10 years later, 12 years.
It's pretty exciting. I think it's exciting.
I'm saying like it's gonna go down like 20, 30 years. People gonna be like, you remember when D Rose won the MVP? Like it's one of those where you like everybody was rooting for him, everybody was excited for him when he won. So it's like I understand what P's saying in a sense where it's like when he did it, right? He's like 22 years old. Doing shit.
Legend shit. For sure.
He was running shit in the league. People were genuinely scared. Like you hear the stories about that year, how people were just genuinely scared of him. So LeBron probably, no slouch to LeBron, but he probably ruins that whole vibe for like Derrick Rose.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, so
he ruins the vibe. It brings you championships,
probably.
And I'm a Chicagoan, so that vibe weighs more than those championships. I don't give a damn about LeBron's legacy.
You think an MVP matters more than championships?
Well, he's a Knicks fan, not a Bulls fan.
I'm for Derrick Rose. Yeah, I like the Derrick Rose more than those. I'm not a Bulls fan. So, and again, because Derrick Rose is from the city, like Who cares? We much rather have the Derrick Rose moment. I'm telling you, if you ask Chicagoans and they say, man, yeah, Derrick Rose is just cool and is never that guy, and he's playing next to LeBron and they win championships and cool. The only how the other people would say that is if he can still be MVP Derrick Rose with LeBron, which is a whole fairy tale thing that I'm not buying into. I don't buy it at all.
Are you feeling that way just because you're under the assumption that LeBron comes to Chicago, stays 4 or 5 years, ends up leaving? So it's not like LeBron's obviously he's never gonna be a Chicagoan, right? He's Cleveland. So is that because D Rose is Chicago more so than LeBron just gonna be a part-time player there?
Exactly. Derrick Rose is just different. Derrick Rose means more to me than Michael Jordan. Derrick Rose is like he lived in these streets. Derrick Rose was like he it's just Derrick Rose. I don't even know. That's the part I can't really connect to y'all because y'all obviously not from Chicago. But even y'all were just saying y'all felt a little of the impact. Now imagine that, and you're from Chicago though.
For sure.
It's like I'm trying to think of who is somebody y'all grew up on that's from New York. Like I mean, I don't.
Nas Reed.
Are you serious?
Nas Reed ain't Isaiah is y'all know Isaiah Whitehead
and becoming
Whitehead's from New York.
Isaiah Whitehead, facts, of course.
No, it's like
legend.
Boom. Damn. No, it's
Nas Reed was definitely a Jersey legend.
No, it's like Briscoe in a sense. It's
boom.
Like
cool.
Briscoe.
Isaiah Briscoe is drafted. He goes to the Knicks. He becomes the MVP. It's just a different vibe in the city, and I don't know because New York is way bigger than Chicago because all the different boroughs. Like it's just different. Even when LeBron won it with the Cleveland, that hit so much harder because he's from Cleveland.
For sure,
Cleveland, this is for you. All of that, like that, it just hit harder, bro. It just hit harder.
Both of you guys saying that his biggest moment isn't in Miami. You're 100% right. It's him going back home. It's him coming back 3-1 down. The narrative is just all there for LeBron in Cleveland. So yeah, this conversation is a little bit
shit hit different when you're from home.
That's a fact.
There's definitely an emotional attachment, but I feel like as long as Derrick Rose was on the team and he held up that trophy with those players, there's still
they would have got over it very quickly because you have a championship.
Like I know,
but I hear what P's saying.
Yeah, I understand that perspective.
Y'all not going to understand because y'all just not from Chicago.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
So I cried when D Rose won the MVP.
No, I bet you did. Well, you're a Bulls fan. You're a Bulls fan.
You're not from Chicago, but like, would you rather the Derrick Rose MVP or LeBron teaming up with Rose and you guys win like a championship or
the Derrick Rose MVP?
That's it
over the championship.
He's saying this for P being here. I just don't buy that.
You don't want the chip?
I'd rather. When
he's also a mediocre Bulls fan.
When Kevin Durant went to the Warriors, I'd rather Kevin Durant not come to Golden State and Steph just ride out. And even if he was losing, I wanted to see him at his best.
He already won a chip before.
But I'm saying I don't. Championships is cool, but I wanted to see Derrick Rose win it.
That part of the conversation is crazy to me too. Championships and shit, like it's cool, but I don't get a ring. It's not like
as a fan, he doesn't get a ring.
Come on,
it's like it's cool, but it's like you don't get an MVP. I'm not that type of fan. It's just like, oh my gosh, it's the best part of being a fan is legitimately just being a fan and being there through the ups and downs. But like your team was only one of my teams I've ever experienced winning a championship is the White Sox, and that was like a moment. But then it's just like it just go back on. It's like you remember that moment, but like. The other things, the Derrick Rose shit, they didn't even win a championship, but it still feel like that. I still reminisce and talk to Chicagoans about. We still live in that moment as if the Bulls at that time went on a three-peat. You would think the way people talk about those times and that team and Derrick Rose, you would think that they won championships. I'm telling you. That's just me. That's just me. Yeah, I understand some people like to act like championships and the team success is really
was a nostalgic moment
life.
Before.
Oh man, my team won the championship.
I mean, I was definitely.
He sounded like a real Knicks fan.
I was more. LeBron, dude.
That's me. That's my bro. That's my guy. I mean, I got chips. I got 4. I'm not gonna say I don't.
Against me, but y'all still got to go to work tomorrow.
But is there
that was a great moment. That was for the haters. That was for the haters. At the end of the day, y'all got to wake up. Y'all got to go in and live your everyday life.
That is the real shit. It's the same way if you win. It's like, okay, people do that when they talk shit to me as a Knicks fan. But my team won it. Okay.
I want my Knicks to win. I want the Jets to win one day.
I want them too, but I'm not going to go around to Riv and be like, look, the Knicks won and the Bulls didn't.
I will definitely do that. and he'll do it back to me.
This whole show is, if we're being honest.
That is what our show is. That is.
It's just different.
I feel like
but you know, it is different. y'all friends. Y'all know each just like through the wire. But I'm just saying, like, people that y'all don't know.
Yeah,
You're gonna be like, okay.
I feel like the allure with Derrick Rose, like the nostalgia aspect of it, I understand it because, of course, like we're talking about early 2010s basketball, and I reflect back on that era of basketball a lot because it's my favorite era. Do we kind of feel like there's more emotion tied to the Derrick Rose thing? Not only because he's from Chicago, but it felt like he never got to finish his story. It felt like the injury cut his career short.
Did everything so young.
It depends on who you asking. Like D Rose for me made me fall in love with basketball. So it's like that's what made me find my first NBA team. So it's different. Like people say I'm not a real Bulls fan anymore, and that's fine. But it was a different energy when I was a Bulls fan then as opposed to now. Like I fell emotionally in love with Derrick Rose game, and then on top of that, he was a Bull. So it's like made me just I'm a Bulls fan. I'm around from. So it's like it really just depends on who you're asking. The people who still like talk about him to this day and talk about like that's the people who like the nostalgia is there. But for people who was just there, like we were old enough to remember and watch, we have that thought and that memory. For the younger people though, it just sucks for them because like they don't know what we're talking about. They think we're just talking about like he was just. They'll go look him up on Basketball Reference. Nah, he's not that good. 25-8. These players can do it now. Ja does it now. No, you had to be there to really understand. Like he was doing shit some of your best players now can't do. So,
but also Derrick Rose at that time, I'm pretty sure that given his age and given when you were watching the Bulls, you kind of thought it was a certainty that you would at least win a championship.
Sure. I thought shit was going to the moon.
Yeah,
early.
When he won MVP, I'm thinking like,
this is the start.
We got it. We got to do MJ.
This is the start too.
The 90s got MJ. I have Derrick Rose. We're gonna be lit. Yeah. And next year he gets hurt. I cried. And it didn't stop.
That was heartbreaking.
Did you have a pair of Audi Zeros, bro?
No.
That's a shame. I did. The neon green ones. I felt tough.
You know what I had a pair? You know what I had a lot of kicks back in the AI, the answers.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a lot of those.
Same.
I had Melo shoe when he was on the Nuggets. I had the Audi Zero, the neon green ones. The big deal was that they were the lightest basketball shoe.
Yeah,
I remember that was the reason. That was the reason I had to have them. And then the return, that whole promotion, that was awesome.
The ones I did have was the Crazy 8s, the all red ones. That's what I had. I got them shit.
I remember D Rose
big and bulky. And I used to try to play ball in, and my feet kept coming out the shoe. And I was like, nah, these shits gotta go in the garbage. It's not it.
Nah, D Rose is lit. I had his D Rose logo, that red shirt. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that one.
I remember his All-Star game. He was just sitting there. They was dancing. He was just like,
straight face, me mugging.
It's just like I'm from the streets. I don't really do none of this.
That was another reason why he didn't go to Chicago. Talking about LeBron, that D Rose, he just went there to hoop. He was a baller. He didn't want to be in those meetings. Now that wasn't his aura. That wasn't his energy.
He did not recruit LeBron.
He straight up only cared about basketball.
Have you guys seen the video of Derrick Rose just on the sidewalk of Chicago, just on a phone call?
I have seen that. Yeah.
Have you seen it, Pierre?
That was in New York.
Oh, it was in New York. It looked. I don't know where it was, but it looked like
you could tell by
why is Derrick Rose there?
Rose,
As an NPC.
His girl, she lives in. They lived in an apartment with my boy. He does like something with either construction or like build houses or something like that. In his apartment building, D Rose girl lives there, so they used to see his girl.
She's a Chicagoan.
She is.
Chicago stick together, man.
Watch yourself over there.
Hey, shout out to D Rose, man. She's a good one.
Chicago sticks together, man. Chicago,
man. See what I can find out there.
That was a good era of basketball, though. I don't know. The Derrick Rose, it being cut short, I feel that, but I feel the same way with Paul George. So I think it may be just the era. There was what else was there? The Young Wizards, that Atlanta Hawks team with a bunch of like solid guys. DeMar with Toronto. That was a good era.
It was that Hawks team. My favorite player on it was Josh Smith.
Really?
Yeah.
I like Joe Johnson. That was my dog.
Joe Johnson's a bucket. Josh Smith was just a high flyer. He was
I didn't care for them because they were in our way. That's all.
Were they really?
Nah,
really? It was never.
They won 60 games. I was like, okay, maybe we got to worry about them. But then, of course,
they were supposed to be in their way, but never were.
That's a shame.
First of all, you're thinking of the wrong Hawks team.
Yeah, you were. You're thinking about the 61.
That is what I'm thinking.
Thinking of Joe Johnson, Josh Smith, Mike Bibby. I think Kirk was there. They had Jamal Crawford. They had Josh Childress. There was a few dudes there. Good team.
Josh Childress.
He was always in free agency in 2K, man.
Josh Childress was a lottery pick.
For real? He was. Top 10 pick.
What year? 05?
I don't know what year. I know he got drafted to the Suns, though.
Maybe 05. Maybe 05.
Top 10 pick for real?
Yeah.
He was on the cover of college basketball hoops. He went to Stanford.
Oh, he's sure. Fro.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was him.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought it was a random.
He was the 6th overall pick in the 2004 draft.
It's close.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I haven't heard that name in such a long time.
I was just playing 2K9 the other day, so I seen him.
The Hawks whiffed on some picks. Josh Childress, Marvin Williams
was
was
that
a
KG
whiff.
on the cover?
Yes.
That game stuff.
The
That was
music
I
is
think that was my
OD.
first 2K I got.
Music is
That was a
extremely
good 2K.
Championships matter to some people. They matter to they don't matter to other people. Now, these two players, championships most definitely matter. That's Dame and Giannis. The whole point of them teaming up and pairing up is to win the championship in Milwaukee. And up to this point, it's been a very rocky start. They're 5-3, still winning record, but defensive struggles. They're not running pick and roll as much as they should be running. What do you make of the Bucks' early season struggles? Pierre, I'm gonna start with you.
I don't really make too much of it. It's interesting and it's good for basketball conversation to look at it, because you look at two guys like that and you automatically think they're gonna take over the world from day one. But the good part about the conversation is that we have to remember that basketball is not 2K. It is real life. They do have a first-time head coach. They did lose a lot with Drew Holiday. And these two players have never played with anything close to the caliber of player that they both are. Dame has never played with nothing near Giannis's level of talent. Giannis has not played with anything close to Damian Lillard's level of talent. And so they have to figure some things out. And that would be my biggest thing. It's so early that I don't want to sit here and dive too deep, because this could be a situation that, we're just doing our job, and then come April, May, we forget that this even happened. So it's interesting, but I'm not taking too much stock. You know what I'm saying? They got some things to figure out. It happens. And I'm still confident that this team can be dangerous. As a Knicks fan who's in the East, I'm not like writing this team off or counting this team out at all. I'm not that foolish. We saw that the first night, Dame, you know what I'm saying? Even in the midst of the struggles, these two guys are both having like individual performances that just should scare you, because at some point it's going to mesh. Mm-hmm. It's going to mesh and be something worth watching. The other stuff, like who's your fifth starter? Malik Beasley. I mean, I can't speak for things like that, but as far as the pairing, it'll work out. It'll work out for sure.
Absolutely. I think there's some things you could look at from this Bucks team and be worried about. And there's some things that we're 8 games into the season, right? 8, 10 games, whatever around. And you say we can't get too ahead of ourselves, right? Outside of just Drew Holiday, I mean, this is really a completely new team. You have Giannis, you have Brooke, and Chris Middleton there, but all the role players that were there last year, outside of Drew, Javon Carter, Grayson Allen, Joe Ingles, Wesley Matthews, all these guys that gave them key minutes and were key contributors to the team, they're gone, right? And they're bringing in all of these new guys, aside from Malik Beasley, who had one of the funniest moments you'll ever see on a basketball court. Him trying to guard last night. If you haven't seen that clip, just guarding Tyrese. I was like, I've never seen that in my life. But jokes aside, offensively, I think they'll be fine. But I do look at their defense, and while I think in terms of like rim protection, I think they should be fine with Brook Lopez and Giannis. I'm still looking at this roster, and Drew Holiday is not walking through that door. Javon Carter is not coming back through that door. The perimeter of this defense is still a major concern for me. And they traded, 5 second-round picks last year for Jay Crowder. Of course, they traded first and second-round picks along with players to get Damian Lillard. So they don't have a ton of flexibility to be able to go and plug holes as they come up along the way this season. Right now, like I said, the perimeter defense is the number one concern for me. But like Pierre mentioned, we're still really early on into the season. And Giannis and Dame, we know once playoffs come around, your superstars have to play like superstars for you to go and win a championship, right? We could talk about role players. We could talk about bench players. But if your superstars are not showing up on a nightly basis, it does not matter how deep your team is. You're not going to be winning games. And we know night in and night out, Giannis and Dame are going to be showing up. I know Dame's had a couple struggles. He missed last night's game as well. But I know in those playoff moments, in those got-to-have-it situations, fourth quarters, Damian Lillard is going to show up on this court. But I do worry a bit as the season goes on. If anything else pops up, whether it's injuries, Brook Lopez is getting up there in age. If anything pops up, they don't have the flexibility of some other contending teams that have other draft picks, have some more movable contracts. I'm looking at this Milwaukee team, but 8 games into the season, definitely not writing them off. I'm still looking at them in Boston in the East as those are two of the top dogs. I know the Sixers are playing some really good basketball. They have to be, in that conversation as well. But these, I guess I will put them in that conversation. These 3 teams are still at the top of the East, and then there's a tier B with the rest of the conference.
There's a learning curve to this team right now. Right now, they're 6th worst defensive rating, 25th in opponents' points per game, 24th in defensive field goal percentage, and 29th in rebounds per game. Now, you can chalk some of that up to like learning curve, and they're learning a new system because Adrian Griffin came into the season and kind of abandoned the drop coverage that Lopez would do.
Yep.
They've went back to it in recent games, and they found more success defensively, but they're still around an average defensive unit. Opponents are hitting 49% of mid-range attempts against them. I think that's going to fall down. League averages around 42%, so that should fall off. And opponents are shooting 38% on above the break threes. That should also fall down just a bit. But I think all the concerns we had coming into the season about a team in particular, the Suns, and with their lack of depth, I feel like you should have those same question marks about the Bucks right now because Giannis and Damian Lillard are offensive machines. We understand that. They haven't really been used offensively as a pairing as much. They don't run pick and roll often. There's a lot of other duos that are running it far more often than them. But what's concerning about this team is that your third option in Chris Middleton is dealing with on and off injuries. You can't rely on him to stay completely healthy. And Brook Lopez is older. With the Bucks right now, the concern is that they just don't have anybody that can really guard consistently on the perimeter. And regardless of Giannis and Dame being offensive superstars in a playoffs, that's going to matter. Dame isn't this woeful defender that's dropping off their defense tremendously. I think it's really been a hole as they're not bought in as a system yet. But outside of Dame, I mean, Malik Beasley has been terrible as a defender. I think they really have to start experimenting with Andre Jackson minutes, more Beauchamp minutes. But then again, you're talking about giving a huge responsibility to two guys who are relatively young. So that's my worry with this team. They don't have much flexibility to go out and make a move. Their moves are going to come out in the buyout market. So for me, I'm kind of worried about this team, the defense for sure. Giannis and Dame can mask only so much, but this team does feel very incomplete. And I think that's the worry I have about them so far.
Come playoff time, you're most likely going to be running 7, 8-man lineups. And I feel like that's what Milwaukee does have. Now, I'm with you with the perimeter defense concerns. There really is a lack thereof that. But outside of the starting five, if we're including Malik Beasley in there, you have Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton, and Jay Crowder. That's 8 guys right there. This isn't the most impressive unit, but at the same time, when you have Dame and Giannis, that should be enough to handle the offensive responsibilities. Middleton, we've seen moments where he has really high highs in the playoffs. We've seen him have some pretty low lows in the playoffs as well. But again, if Middleton's your third option and Damian Lillard, who you mentioned has been pretty on and off, inconsistent, but we saw him pick it up in that fourth quarter versus the Pistons, which we know that's why they brought him here to Milwaukee when they need those clutch buckets. He's one of the clutchest players in the association. So I'm standing very firm on the idea that it's way too early to judge this Milwaukee Bucks team as a whole. I think that this defensive rating is a concern, sure, where they're a bottom 5 defense, but I still think it's very early on, and they have adjustments that they can make to get better as the season progresses. But what is a plus that you want to see was early on, this offense has been impressive, even with the inconsistency of a Damian Lillard so far. Not playing last night. We saw Giannis be able to show the low, like we know that he can. But again, it has to be a team at the end of the day that is playing together on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. I still think it's way too early to be in or out on them. But you should lean more in than out for the ideas. You have Giannis, you have Dame, and these are 2 of the most trustworthy players in the association.
I think 2 things can be true. I think you can have your same, like you can be struggling and have a new team trying to figure things out, but you can also not have the personnel to be a good defense. And I think both things are true for this team. I think in terms of the front line with Lopez, with Giannis, if Middleton is there, Middleton's the 3, that's solid. But I think on the perimeter, even their backups, they're not good defensively. And I think we had our issues in the offseason about the depth of this team. We had our issues in the offseason about how defensively they were going to be able to stop other teams. Offensively, like I mentioned, I don't have it. I think they're just figuring it out. And I think it took freaking LeBron and D-Wade time.
I was going to say the same
thing. It took
thing,
Kevin Durant and Steph time. Like, it's going to take time for everybody. You know what I'm saying? It takes time for players to get to know each other, get to know your tendencies, get to know what spot you like on the court. So these are 2 players that, like P has mentioned, they've never played with a caliber player of each other's ever. Like Giannis has never played with a guy as good as Dame. Dame has never played with a guy as good as Giannis. So it's going to take time. So that's not an issue. But I think even though it's going to also take time for the defense, the difference with the offense is they have the personnel to continue to keep that offense firing, keep that offense on go. I don't think they have the personnel to keep that defense or to fix the defense right now. And I don't want to say I'm, over exaggerating because it is extremely early. I think this team is still one of the 2 best teams in the East, but I don't think this defense is going to show you an extreme improvement because they just lack the guys to do it.
There's only 2 defenders on this team. It's Brook Lopez and Giannis. I think Jay Crowder is kind of past what he was, and Pat Connaughton is just a guy there. They don't have anybody that can guard the perimeter outside of their young players, and I think that's the major problem with this team right now.
Absolutely. I don't feel good about it either.
Oh, shit. They got to come out of the gate better, too. They ranked 27th in first quarter points, and I think that is a big sign that guys getting used to each other. They got to come out and know what they want to do. We letting Giannis get started early. We ain't got to force the issue because the flow of the game is always going to change game by game. But that was a telling thing that I had saw earlier. When you got 2 players like that, you should never have bad starts to games, especially scoring a basketball. So they'll figure something out though. But yeah, we definitely got to give them time. And the perimeter defense, I think we kind of knew that going into the year. So I'm not that damn surprised.
The pick and roll defense, though, I was watching the games back, and it was pretty laughably bad. Like you mentioned that you want to see that they made the adjustment of having Brook play a little bit more drop. Seemed like he kind of got a little bit lost in that in between. But Brook was so great as a rim protector last season that even with his age, you anticipate that he can keep that same energy. But again, you got to be realistic. Like we know that he's going to be a great 3-point shooter. He should be able to defend the paint relatively well in terms of blocking shots. But in that pick and roll defense, if you don't have that guy up top, that becomes extremely difficult to defend.
You're relying on Brook Lopez to do everything.
Essentially.
Last year was Drew Holiday and Lopez kind of working in cahoots on their defense. Now it's the first point of attack defender is getting torched off the screen. He's not navigating off it. And I think that is the issue with the team. And transition defense, they're one of the worst transition defenses in the NBA. And I think it could be because it's early in the season. This team's not going out and running like that. I know it's a very low sample size, but if this was a playoff series and you have to trust Adrian Griffin or Joe Mazzulla, what coach would you rather trust?
I trust Boston.
Yeah.
So not Mazzulla, you just trust Boston.
It's always a straight with this guy.
Why would you take the first-year coach and Joe Mazzulla?
No, but I think
I'm talking Joel.
Oh, I think Boston's a better team.
I just asked you that question.
But why would you bring the question up if you didn't have an answer?
Adrian Griffin, to be fair, none of them have proven a ton.
Because I think it's actually crazy how the top 2 teams in the East right now are manned by basically first-year head coaches. Well, Mazzulla's second year now, but unproven head coaches have the 2 most talented rosters in the East.
The Bucks went with this decision. The Bucks won this decision.
David Blatt took over that Cavs team.
Steve Kerr won a ring as a rookie.
The rookie head coach, yes, he did.
I mean, listen, you can hit, you can miss.
Yeah.
Steve Kerr was a front office guy before that, though.
Eric Spoelstra's another one.
Yeah.
But I think
that's the question. How important is coaching?
I think for talented teams, it's not as big of a thing as opposed to like.
But it could be a difference maker in a playoff series.
Spoelstra put on masterclass after masterclass.
Miami isn't as talented as the Bucks.
But that's what. But my point being is, how much does coaching matter? That's where I still have to emphasize. Yeah. When you're the best coach in the NBA, it still has an influence on the game.
For sure. But
wait, how you missing the argument? I mean, or you missing the thing? I'm not saying it don't matter. I just ask how much does it? Y'all, I think both of y'all are right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but why'd you say that?
Yeah, I wasn't saying that.
Yeah, you fucked me up. You fucked me up.
I took it the way as P saying, if you got the talent, ultimately.
No, yeah, you just rebutted as if I didn't. Like I said something that combated with you because I was like, it depends. The low end teams would need it more, and you was like, well, Miami did this, and I was like, yeah. What I said, yeah.
But they weren't a low end team.
No, I'm saying, and talent wise, yeah,
in comparison.
But Jimmy Butler's still top 10 player, and Bam Adebayo is.
Nah, come on, they
wasn't a play.
We respect the Heat because of Jimmy. Bam, and we also
we know outside of
Tyler Hero getting injured, of course, you weren't anticipating that, but that big three you still have to give some respect, mostly because of course, Jimmy and Bam.
Whenever you have a coach that's so great that you're like, you know what, I might take this team because of the coach. That is a difference maker.
Even still, know how many did. How many did that?
There's only like 2 or 3 coaches in the league. Like that.
There's really not a lot.
Which who are them?
Yeah,
that's
Eric
Spoelstra is one of them.
That's what I was like. Maybe
I
I
don't know.
might have threw the number out
You're
too
a
much.
Warriors guy, but you don't even really like Kerr.
He be bugging sometimes. The thing is, I've never seen Kerr outside of the situation with Steph.
Yeah.
So I
Popovich?
can't.
We have seen it
When
you guys had the second pick overall.
No, I wouldn't count that. That's like he had nobody. So I
That's
wouldn't.
true.
Yeah, I wouldn't count that. I'm saying
I agree with Joe. I mean, if the Spurs were in that realm,
Pop.
we would say Pop. They're just not
Okay.
in that situation right now. But
Pop is a great one. Yeah, I like.
Is there any else?
I don't say that to diminish any coaches.
Mhm.
I'm just saying when it comes to NBA basketball, coaching definitely matters, but it's always a good conversation to say how much does it matter? Because it's like you got these great ass coaches where it's like, oh yeah, no doubt it matters with Spoelstra and Popovich. But it's like, have we ever had a time where there was like 15 coaches where you just like, man, if they got him, I'm right. It's like it's more so with the players. You look at Boston and you say, man, Joe Mazzulla, Brad Stevens, Ime, I don't want to see them dudes.
I think
Ime's a great coach.
I think with top teams though, the coaches definitely have less era to fuck up. You know,
for sure.
I think
they clipped David Blatt.
They're pretty much fighting the they're going into a game like, all right, as long as I just don't fuck up, I just call the simple timeout here.
They sent David
I
Blatt
make
to
a
the
simple
shadow
substitution here.
Legit.
As long as I do that, and this team just comes out, play their talent, they win. That's how those rookies. Because I know Joe Mazzulla is probably going there like, all right, let me just make this one sub.
Yeah,
here.
but the thing is,
Let me
Rip,
not do this.
I witnessed in last postseason the Boston Celtics miss wide open threes in that Miami Heat series, and everyone was blaming Joe Mazzulla.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm up here. I was defending Joe Mazzulla. It was like fire and fire. I'm like, if the Celtics and Jason Tatum and JB and all these guys are hitting their open threes, we're winning this series.
For sure.
So it's tough when you have, especially in basketball, when we say make or miss league, and it could be a cliche sometimes, but when your guys aren't hitting shots, you could have the best scheme in the world, but if they're not going to make open shots, you can only do so much as a coach.
Who's the best coach in the East to you?
So
Suppose. Yeah, comfortably.
Who's the second best?
I don't even know.
Yeah, shit.
That are teams that can make the playoffs.
Thibodeau.
Nurse.
Yes,
Nick Nurse
great
is the
answer.
second best.
Great answer.
It's a
I'll go
great
there.
fucking answer.
Great answer.
I say that
I
because
like
I
Quinn Snyder a lot though, but that's just
Quinn Snyder's
Atlanta's
awesome.
playing
Quinn
well.
Snyder is really good. I do like Snyder.
asked that question though because the Sixers are 6-1 right now. They're 1-4 teams to have a top 10 offensive rating and defensive rating. They have the second best net rating. They traded James Harden. He played at an all-star, all-NBA level last year, but Tyrese Maxey has ascended into a star. And I think by trading Harden, they brought in some players that really fit them in Batum and Covington, who are solid 3-and-D wings. And do you think that Philadelphia in a series against a Milwaukee or Boston has a chance because Nick Nurse can thoroughly outcoach his counterpart?
I think for a team like Philly, it's too early to ask that. I think Philly is definitely one of those teams, and like we all thought, like, I can assume Pee-wee's a smart guy. We all thought that even though they lost James Harden, they were going to lose James Harden. It's still a playoff team. This is a team that can definitely still compete throughout the year. They have an MVP candidate. We all knew, like, I can comfortably say we all can take that. We knew Maxey was going to take a leap once Harden. Like, we knew this was going to be Maxey's
like
leap.
this though is he's been
no, this
remarkable.
obviously we didn't expect. Nobody really could predict this, but we knew a leap was coming.
Without Harden, the anticipation was that he would be in the most improved conversation.
He would be.
Yes.
We thought 23, 24 points per game.
The scoring, yeah, but the playmaking to me has stood out a lot.
The thing with his playmaking, though, his playmaking
Sorry,
isn't extravagant. He just doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't.
That's huge.
Yeah, he doesn't cause too many turnovers. He doesn't try to do things he can't do. He just sticks within his game, sticks within his role. Sometimes that's the perfect thing to do.
Agreed.
You know, so and I think this Philly team, you know, they're great in transition. You know, they've been getting out the ball faster. They're running on pace. They're their pace, and I think it's a different pace than what James Harden was used to. Joel Embiid has gotten better as a passer over what we've seen so far.
Yes.
But with Philly, it's all about time for them. It's all about to see how are they going to play out throughout the year? Because we mentioned it. It's still really early. Right now, we're in that phase where the bad teams look good. Some of the good teams look bad. You know, usually around January, February is when we start to get to feel like, all right, who's the real teams coming out? But for Philly, this is a good 9-10 man group. Like, this is a good ass team. This is a team in the East that can go to the second round. This is a team in the East that can win a playoff series. Can they go to the ECF?
that's what everyone wants to know. Everyone knows they get to the second round.
The Bucks or Boston. I don't know. I don't want to. Like, it depends on Maxey.
You're gonna play both of them very well.
Yeah, but I think Maxey, what we've seen in his previous playoffs, he had something brewing in him. Like
He played well in that.
He has
Boston
something
Yes.
brewing now with him with the ball. We're going to be excited to see how he is. And I think that's what Philly's waiting for, to see him with the ball in the playoffs. How does he look? To maybe throw him the bag, which I think they're going to throw him regardless. But I like what Philly's been doing. I like how impressive they looked on both ends. I like how Joel Embiid has looked as a playmaker, finally becoming more aware of his situation. I like how Maxi's looked. D'Anthony Melton, Kelly Oubre, who was an afterthought in the offseason, has been hooping for them. Pat Bev.
Look at that
Pat
smile
Bev has been
Pierre got on
solid.
his face
He-
after
he-
you
he-
said
he-
Oubre.
he-
Oubre's number
yeah.
one fan.
Pat Bev has been solid for them off the bench. This is a good unit, and I like Philly. I thought they were going to be a good team. Playoffs, another question. We'll get down there in April, but so far so good.
Why are we sleeping on Kelly Oubre, Pierre? You got the sauce on him, man. What's up with him?
Shout out to Kelly Oubre. This is what happens. This is why being a hooper is important, because there's certain times in today's game where they overthink, they overanalyze. They being the media, basketball people who make decisions. And I won't lie, as a guy that like Kelly Oubre, I understand why he was in the situation he was in. We was in a time in free agency where guys was getting money, high money, or they was getting low money. It was really nothing in between. And Kelly Oubre's history has kind of been rocky. He struggled with the Warriors. He looked really good with the Hornets, but they were a bad team. How can Kelly Oubre be effective on a winning basketball team? That was a big question mark, but he answered the call. He's doing his thing so far with Philly, and this is the type of season that players like him that end up in that situation need to bounce back. But Philly is good. I'm not surprised. Through the wire, I said that this team potentially could be as high as 2. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think that they were necessarily going to fall to 6 without Harden. But with all of that, it's really hard to talk, and it's so unfair for them and their fans, because no matter what, the real question is the playoffs. Mm-hmm. All of this is cool, but it don't matter, because Philly is they've made the playoffs a bunch of times now. They've started off the years 6-1 before. They've had high success. It's really about getting past that second round. So it's cool to talk about, and it's Nick Nurse's first year, and it's the Harden stuff. But them playoffs, man, they've been waiting on a real playoff run for a long time, which is kind of unfortunate, because it's you want to talk about this, you want to get excited, but it's if they don't do what they're supposed to do in the playoffs, that we just come back next year with the same type of thing. I'm just happy that they're in a good situation, because if this did start early, maybe the Embiid talk, speeds up, but they have to perform in the playoffs. They have to do something in the playoffs. And this coming up free agency, I think they'll have close to $50, potentially $60 million in cap space, depending on how they pivot around everything. And that's going to be the true calling card for them. I'm looking there, because I still don't think they can rock with Boston. Boston is them boys, man. Boston number. And if Philly catch the Knicks on the right day, the Knicks could throw them out too. You know what I'm saying? Them against the Bucks would be nice, because Adrian Griffin is a first-year head coach. That would be nice. And I like the game that we did see of them a couple weeks ago when the season first came. I like them though. I like what they're doing. I'm happy for Philly, but it just sucks that it's just they're at that point where they can't be satisfied unless they have that run. The Knicks are approaching that era, so we'll see.
Drew was in the chat this morning saying, I finished watching the Sixers and Celtics game, and I moved.
No, I was moved because that was just high-level basketball. I enjoyed what I watched.
Probably
really,
to throw you under the bus.
No, that's fine with me. There's no throwing under the bus. It was a great basketball game, just entertainment-wise. The fact that, just talking about that game real quick, the fact that Boston's game plan was, let's put Jason Tatum on Joel Embiid to get that last stop that we need. I thought that was questionable, but I thought it was way better offense by Embiid. His ability to just work in the post, fade like that.
Showed why he's better.
He has been incredible so far this season. Riv, you spoke about it, and I spoke about it on the last show that we had. His passing so far this season has drastically improved. And with Maxey at point guard and not a Harden, Riv, spot on. They play at a different pace. That's Maxey. He plays very fast. That is one of his strongest attributes, how quick he is. And the way that they can work in transition with Maxey at the point guard and at the helm, you really do see that in the basketball that they are playing. But again, it all comes back to the unfortunate truth. what does the regular season matter with Philadelphia when their ultimate end goal is to be competing for that championship at the end of the season? You don't have an MVP type player in a Joel Embiid, and you don't think about the bigger picture in an NBA championship. So again, you can take away strong positives like we all have done so far in this segment. Talk about how great Maxi's been, one of the biggest surprises of the season, where you had an inclination that he would be great this year. No one expected him to be one of the best players in the game at this point in time. On top of the fact of you have Kelly Oubre playing it the way he is. Tobias, you knew he's just been a great glue guy for Philadelphia over these last couple of years. But really seeing them work right now, it's been great to see. But again, it matters what you're doing in May, what happens, what you're doing in June. But if you can be a dominant regular season team, it's not one of those where teams come playoff time are going to be looking at Philadelphia like the same regular old Sixers with Nick Nurse now come playoff time. You can feel a little bit more better about this squad. But again, only matters what you do come playoff time.
And that Sixers-Celtics game was strange because Tatum really wasn't guarding Embiid most of that game. Funny enough, Drew Holiday was the best defender. I have the numbers here. Al Horford was getting cooked. We're talking about Brook Lopez struggling a little bit. Al Horford to start off the year has not been hitting his threes, and he's been an Embiid stopper for years, and Embiid cooked him in this game. Al guarded Embiid on 26 possessions, gave it 15 points on 6 of 11 shooting. Drew Holiday was the second most defended player against Embiid, 22 possessions, only let up 2 points on 1 of 3 shooting. So Drew Holiday did a great job against Embiid. It was a very interesting game plan. They were throwing some doubles at him for sure. And Riv, you mentioned the pace of play with Maxey there now over James Harden. Last year, they were the 3rd slowest team in terms of pace. This year, they're up to 13th fastest. So bringing Maxey in there, having kind of that young explosiveness has definitely brought something to the Sixers team. And that Celtics game, just pointing that out because, of course, I was locked in. I thought that game was done and over. Celtics were down 10 points around that with 2 minutes left. They made a run. Jaylen Brown started getting hot again. But like you mentioned, Drew, Joel Embiid just hit a really tough shot over his left shoulder, right shoulder. I remember on the left side of the court over Tatum. Then once he hit that shot, he was chirping at Sam Cassell after, basically saying, yeah, you kind of told me that move. We were in the lab. Of course, he was, helping out Embiid for years there in Philly. But you got like how they're looking so far. First in the Eastern Conference. The offense looks phenomenal. Tyrese Maxey's having a breakout season. You mentioned Kelly Oubre averaging 17 points per game, being an integral part of this team. And he was signed like 2 weeks ago, it feels like, right? He was a last-minute addition to this team, and he's been, their 3rd, 4th best player. Tobias having a good season. So they've been very impressive so far. But like you guys have said, we don't really care what they look like November through through March. We care what they look like April, May, if they could get to June, because we know what it is with Joel Embiid, 29 years old. We know the time frame he has to win a championship. It does feel like if they're not able to get past the second round with this, what we're going on the 3rd, 4th iteration of the 76ers team, you might be looking for a new home.
It's just both sides of the ball. They've been great. Top 5 in offense and defense.
Do we think they make a move, or they're just going to let it ride?
Let it ride.
I also think it
got a lot of
depends on
time
how
till February.
For sure.
They have a lot of assets to make a move. So I think that's a good thing. This is my favorite iteration of the Sixers team. This is my favorite one. I think
interesting.
They've been trying to build
7 games in. You like this more than
this
all
is because they've been trying to build.
Y'all
around
are crazy, man.
And sometimes when it comes to building around your star player, you think the end goal to that, the way to do that is getting another star player to pair up with him. But sometimes it's not how it is. Sometimes you just need players that complement your star player. And this team, compared to last year, I'm looking at the playoff minutes per game. Harden, Maxey, and Embiid top 3. We know that. The top 5 next ones were Tobias and PJ. Then it's DeAnthony Melton, Niang, and Paul Reed. I think after Melton, those 7 and 8 guys, now that they become Oubre and Batum and Covington, I think that's a much better basketball team now because you have defenders. And we've seen teams before in history that build their teams around centers. It's not always star-studded. 2009 Dwight Howard, 1995 Rockets with Olajuwon. You build the team around your star player with players that fit. And I think this team, I can argue like right now, it's the best that's fit around Joel Embiid. You have shooters everywhere. You have defenders. There's really no weak link on defense with this team. And if Maxey can play like this, that's kind of a second option equivalent to a Jamal Murray with the Nuggets Jokic run. Like Jamal Murray, we know is a better player, but from a skill standpoint, Tyrese Maxey and Jamal Murray, if Tyrese can give you 24 and 6 in the playoffs, that is essentially a great second option next to Embiid.
I'm with you. Now, there's been rumblings about potentially Philadelphia going out and trying to acquire a Zach LaVine. I think that's the move that we're trying to stay away from. If you're the 76ers.
Are you talking about Zach or about okay?
It's over.
Caruso's you build around him.
No, they're all gone. I swear to God.
You can bring him back home?
I'm proud of Drew.
Why is that, King?
What you just said, man. That's the move they stay away from. I agree, man. I agree.
Bro,
Nick Nurse love OG Anunoby anyway. That's his guy. So you look that way.
2 first-round picks. We'll get Caruso.
2 firsts?
Yeah, you saw what he did.
How about a
Suns
first and a
game?
swap?
2 first-round picks for Caruso.
First and a
Oh
swap.
yeah, you smoking something from Chicago?
No, listen,
for real.
listen. We can finesse
first and
the
a
team.
swap? Are you cool with that? First and a swap.
Fuck your swap. I
You're-
want
you're-
2
you're
flat
being
first round.
stingy, bro.
Oh, well,
You can
gonna
get
him.
one in a swap.
You gonna get
I'm
him.
giving you Pritchard a first in a couple seconds.
Who?
You're taking that. You're taking that. Easy.
You ain't getting them there, bro. Yo, they
You
was
want
talking.
the picks. You don't care about the
No, they
players.
was talking about the other day. I forgot who reported it, but they was like, Caruso. Some team might throw 2 firsts at him. I swear to God.
I
Tell you what,
don't
man,
blame you, bro.
we keep playing like this on the perimeter. Shit, man. It might be us.
Yes, if it is
Might make
one
that call in
team,
December.
the Lakers don't care about nothing.
We made
so.
that honestly. Talk
Kiss.
about Russ. Talk about all the moves that we made. No, number one biggest mistake: letting Caruso walk for nothing.
You can need
For
him.
nothing.
Use him right now.
That shit makes me sad.
We're gonna have a Lakers topic soon.
No,
Might-
no. Our Lakers topic was talking about LeBron in the first topic of the show.
Okay.
I was cool with that. I'm down to let us get another week, get healthy, God willing, and then we could talk about the Lakers.
AD's back.
He's probable tonight.
Funny enough about the Lakers last year, they got really lucky against the Timberwolves in a play-in because McDaniels didn't play and Gobert didn't play.
Why didn't McDaniels
2
play?
guys. Well, Gobert didn't play. He was actually injured.
Why didn't McDaniels play?
Why do I have to answer that? We know why.
Why though?
We know why.
Because he was immature.
Well, okay, he won't be immature this year.
I
That's
hope
for
so.
sure.
I hope
I
so.
know
Great
so
ball
because
player.
I
No,
love
man.
McDaniels.
He's a great ball
I've
player.
spoken to him. He told me he's not going to do that again.
Respect that.
Yes, he's
Tough.
not going to do that
I
again.
respect that.
The Timberwolves right now, I mean, listen, man. Maybe I was a year too early. I was. Last year,
You're
first
doing it
seed
again.
prediction. This year, the way they looking, they're not going to be the first seed. That's going to belong to the Nuggets. But, I mean, am I bought in on the Timberwolves?
I mean, we know you're
Anthony Edwards is breaking out, like, legitimately into a top 15 player right now. His stats prove it. The way he gave it to Jason Tatum on offense and defensively,
God.
shutting him down. I mean, I was watching that Celtics and Timberwolves game, and I said, wow. If this is my first time watching this game, I would say number 5 in a Timberwolves jersey is the best player on the court. And I think over time that will happen. He will be the best player among all those guys. It might happen relatively soon. Maybe a sneak peek finals matchup we saw in that game with Edwards coming out on top is possible. But I'm looking at the Timberwolves. First in defensive rating right now. And of course, we know Anthony Edwards is the biggest reason for that, for why they're winning.
Oh,
Not defense.
Yeah. Rudy's been.
But I
fucking
got to
amazing.
give the flowers
He's
to
the
Rudy
favorite to win
Gobert,
Defensive Player of the Year.
as he should. Rudy Gobert last year didn't gel with this team. People called it one of the worst trades ever. And just a year later, Rudy Gobert's looking like one of the most dominant players again on defense. And last year, he came banged up to training camp. He didn't participate in training camp. He was playing overseas basketball. So he didn't get time to really implement himself in a system and for them to create a system around him. He talked about that, and he talked about how this year the entire team committed to just playing defense, and that's what their identity is going to be. And I feel like the difference between what Gobert's doing now versus what he did before, he's still the same dominant defender, but the positive sign for the Wolves is that you actually have guys on the perimeter that can guard. McDaniels is arguably the best perimeter defender in the league. Anthony Edwards can guard. Mike Conley can guard. And even with Cat, he was guarding somewhat, but if he's not out there, you have Kyle Anderson, you have Naz Reid. They have a lot of players that are versatile and can defend. So I'm looking at this Timberwolves team, first in defensive rating. I think they will finish as one of the top defenses this year. I think 50 wins this season for them is very realistic. But this year, man, Anthony Edwards is the headline, but I think it all starts with Rudy Gobert. And the young talent around this team could have been awesome if they had Walker Kessler, but I think they make the Gobert trade because Gobert is one of those players that can teach you things defensively. The opinion of Gobert is more valuable than the opinion of Kessler. You know, Gobert has seen more NBA basketball and can teach these young guys more. And I think him being there, he's really turned himself into a leader with Minnesota. Edwards speaks about that. McDaniel speaks about that. And goddamn, man, like the Timberwolves are legit. They're legit.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
And I want you to be 100% honest with me. I don't want you to lie.
Be honest.
I want you to be honest.
I'm never lying.
Last year, did you say at any point that they should have never traded Rudy Gobert? They should have just picked Walker Kessler.
Yes, I did.
And now you're telling me, as of today, 7 games in, you're like,
Riv,
you
don't
think
you
Rudy
know
Gobert
you're
is
allowed
teaching?
to take in new information, bro, once it's delivered to you?
Okay, I just want. Okay, this
The
is
7-game sample size.
you're doing it again.
I'm not doing it
a lot.
again. I think what I didn't have back then was I didn't know Gobert missed that much time. I didn't know he didn't attend training camp back then. I was doing some research over the past couple of weeks, and I looked into the backstory of why he was poor with them last year. You can admit 2 things. Last year, Rudy Gobert was arguably the worst he's ever been on defense in his career. That is a fact. Cat did not get to play with this team. The trade was only a failure if you're not getting this outcome. The whole point of trading for Gobert is to get better at rebounding, to get better at defense. And they were not this elite of a unit. So now that they're this elite of a unit, you know, maybe the rookie flair with Walker Kessler caught me off guard a little bit. He was one of the best defenders in the league last year as a rookie.
And you also could have kept 5 first. Like that.
Yes,
also
that's a lot of first round picks. But when you believe in a franchise player like the Timberwolves believe in Anthony Edwards to take a leap as a star this early, then you make that type of move. And I think the Cat and Gobert pairing on offense still has a lot of question marks, but defensively, the returns are here so far. And there's nothing that I've seen from watching Gobert that makes me believe this is going to drop off, because he's legitimately in the best condition that he's ever been in his career right now. He's playing out of his mind, and he's playing elite level basketball.
I just wanted to make sure you wasn't, I'm glad that's growth. That was growth right there.
Appreciate it,
I'm
bro.
glad you just stood on your 10 and he was like, you know what? I said that last year. I did research, and now I'm back on the chain. That's growth.
Listen, a team with Walker Kessler, Vando, and what they have already, it's still an awesome team.
Listen, we're off that. We don't got to go. You don't got to go back. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to do that. You're good. I see you was going to try.
It's still an awesome team.
Yeah, listen.
So
I'm not. What?
Riv, the question was, though, just so we're all aware,
6-3, bro.
Always slick.
Respect us.
y'all have been playing some good basketball, even without Wiggins doing anything. The question was, are the Wolves this year's breakout team? Now, let me ask you that question, Riv. Are they the breakout team? Because there's other teams
in both conferences
in the league.
I think the breakout team for me would be Indiana, because I think
More so than OKC.
Oh, OKC too, of course. I just think OKC, we kind of expected them to take a leap with Minnesota. We all expected, if they were healthy, we thought they were going to be a top 5 seed last year, and then this year we expected the same.
Indiana, I feel like that's the OKC of the Eastern Conference.
We could definitely go with that. I think this year, I wouldn't call Minnesota a breakout team, though. I think this is a team that everybody already kind of respected.
Just got healthy.
Yeah, for sure.
But I feel like, isn't that taking some credit away from them? Because we're not considering them a breakout team, because a lot of us were high on their potential, but they still have to do it. And I think if they go from being an 8th seed last year to now being a top 4 seed, I think that's a breakout. Even if we were expecting it, I think it's still a breakout.
I mean, I guess. Yeah, you could say that. I'm not looking at a team with Conley, Ant, Jaden, Cat, and Rudy Gobert and thinking, oh, this is a breakout team. No, I'm thinking,
Reed, don't forget about him.
I'm thinking this is a team that should be competing regardless.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, when I think breakout team, I think a young team or a team that wasn't in the hunt that's now just popped up like out the boom, and now they're all of a sudden in the playoffs, or they're making some, like the Kings were a breakout team last year. They didn't make the playoffs. 3rd seed. Indiana, if they make the playoffs as a top 6 seed this year, they didn't make it last year. They jump in, like, that's a breakout to me. I don't think Minnesota, for me, would be considered a breakout, because I thought they were good. They just were banged up, like you mentioned, last year, and they had a new team last year. This year, I expected them to do about what I thought they would do last year.
So the Mavs are a breakout team if they finish with the top 6 seed?
No,
because they were the play-in last year.
They were in the
they didn't make
I
the
wouldn't call them a breakout team.
They have Luka and Kyrie, bro.
Yeah,
I'm just based on what he said, the definitions. That's what I'm asking.
But if you're in the WCF,
no, like the
in
Rockets
last 2
being
years,
a top 6 seed right now, they're right where
that's essentially a new team
correct.
In the playoffs, like a new team into the.
Not saying that we're buying in,
race.
but that's along the lines of what he's saying.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider Minnesota a breakout. I think they're playing good basketball.
I
they're
think
a
I
good
would
team.
I would consider them breaking
I would
out.
too.
Anthony Edwards has been playing
Anthony Edwards is
some of his
breaking out.
some of his best basketball. You're seeing the defensive side of things. You mentioned Gobert, but this unit as a whole has been unbelievable. Right now, they're ranked number 1 in defensive rating. So and this is all happening while they're playing winning basketball without their second best player, who some may have argued prior to maybe not this season, but last season before that, Karl Anthony Towns, where he's not playing anywhere near the level of basketball that we know that he can get to. He's been struggling so far offensively. Once he gets going, then we really have the conversation of Minnesota being one of the best teams, where already you can have that conversation.
Dangerous.
It does become an amazing conversation about Minnesota really competing at the end of the season. But where we stand right now, you have to respect what's going on. Yeah, they are one of the breakout teams of the season, but you have to respect what's going on over there with OKC. Now, Riv, you're right. We all had inclinations that OKC would be one of these teams. But again, like you said, why I agree with you on the Wolves, you can have that idea, but you have to, end of the day, go out there and execute. We're seeing OKC's offense be great. We're seeing Chet already be that defensive piece down low that we were anticipating him to be one of the better shot blockers in the game. He's been fantastic. J-Dub, of course, we know that he can get to his too. Cason Wallace has been really good as a rookie so far on the defensive side of things as well. This team, to me, OKC is in that conversation with Minnesota. I just think Minnesota is further along in their process in terms of that
They can get a playoff
turnaround.
series win.
Exactly correct. They're definitely later into their stages of rebuilding, because these two teams, I wouldn't classify them as rebuilding anymore. Minnesota's here. I think OKC is a step behind them. They're a step away from being on that level as well. But again, to see Chet be as versatile as he is on the offensive side of things, SGA is SGA. We know he's going to be one of the best offensive players in the game. Just had a game where he barely missed a shot at all, dropped 40 points effortlessly. He's one of the most special guards in this game. So to me, I have to categorize OKC in this conversation for sure, because again, we can have the idea, but at the end of the day, you got to go out there and execute. So I'm with Joel. You have to respect Minnesota, but OKC needs to be spoken about.
What you think about the Wolves, P?
The Wolves, they good. They do anything. I agree with Riv though. They're not a breakout to me. I just don't believe that you break out by doing what you're supposed to do. I think that was the biggest thing with the trade stuff last year, was the fact that they gave up so much. The move that they made with Rudy is the type of move you make when you're like that one piece away. And that's why I think, because it didn't have the success, and there was a lot of different things that didn't go right, and they couldn't figure it out with Cat and him, and then that 29-game sample size where a lot of people were talking about it. And then I agree with Joel, the Walker Kessler buzz as a rookie also kind of made people feel away. I'm proud of them for bouncing back. They doing a thing. It is still so early, so I'm not buying the hype. I think there's certain levels you got to go to, and to think that this team is just like figuring it out and going to win a championship this year, I'm really not with that. I got Pacers as a breakout team. They playing out of this world, and they doing it in a way where they kind of dominating offensively, which I thought the Pacers were going to be good, and I thought they were going to take a step, but I didn't know that they were going to be the best offense in the league and doing the things that they're doing. So my vote would be the Indiana Pacers, but the Timberwolves definitely doing anything. I think it's possible to give credit without having to title everything with such large labels. You don't have to call them the breakout team of the year to say that they're doing anything. But
so far, however many games into the season,
9.
That's what this conversation
So do you
is.
think Dallas is a breakout team?
No.
Nah.
Why?
You can't be a breakout team
Because
because
you
you
have
have WCF 2 years ago.
Yeah.
No, they're not. They tanked.
That's really what it is.
That pick.
So as long as you, so basically,
Rip, I just told you that,
I'm
though.
asking if so. Your definition is, if you make a WCF, you can't be a breakout 2 years later. So what if you make the playoffs 2 years ago? You still a breakout?
And you got bounced in the first round?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on your team too, because the Timberwolves, it's McDaniels and Ant are your young guys, but you got a lot of bets on this team.
I have
Let me
a
ask
question.
you, would you call the Grizzlies the year after they lost in the first round to the Jazz? The year after, when they went and faced you guys, like they were one of the breakout teams that
So
year.
No, it would be the year
They were a
before.
top 2 team in the Western Conference.
Yeah,
yes,
they
yes,
did
yes,
take a
facts,
lead.
facts, facts.
That's what
That's
I'm saying.
true. That's
Like
a great
the-
analogy.
That's all I'm saying.
But then you would still. But I don't get it, because if you just said that Dallas is not a breakout team because they made it 2 years ago, they made a WCF 2 years ago, which is fine. That makes sense. Last year
They also have the
didn't.
top 5 player in the West.
Last year they didn't make the playoffs. So this year they're playing well. Okay, but if Minnesota made the playoffs 2 years ago and then they made moves to kind of be better. Last year they didn't. What would make them a breakout?
I think it's
now
how
this
great
also
they are.
goes hand in hand
The
with what he's
results.
saying. If
If
with
you
that
bring up
statement,
Memphis, if you
you're
bring
right,
up
it's too early.
Memphis, if you
With
bring
that
up
statement,
Memphis,
it's too early.
It's
I'm
the
with you.
results. For
I'm with you.
example, this is an analogy in the East. The Atlanta Hawks in 2021 made the Eastern Conference Finals. Since then, they have been a playoff team, but
Sure.
they have not been a top playoff team.
Yeah.
If this year they finish with a top 3 seed in the East, I think they broke out.
I disagree. I think they're doing what they were supposed to have
Because when you
done.
brought DeJounte, that was the expectation. You were supposed to be a top 4, top 5 team in the
Yeah,
East.
but
I don't give
ultimately,
most
you
improved
change-
player awards to top overall picks.
You
because
change
that's
your
what you're
coach.
supposed to do.
And Quinn Snyder comes in, and now it's a whole new offensive philosophy, and that's what's unlocked this team. I think you can say, well, this iteration of this team broke out because last year it was disappointing. Where the Timberwolves, like for example, I think you had the Pacers as your breakout team. Riv had the Pacers, OKC as his breakout team. The Pacers, I thought, were a playoff team coming into the year. So if I had that expectation on them, and now
that's why I
they're
say we all did.
yeah, and now they're in the playoff picture. Am I classifying them as a breakout team? I still would, but I think it's fair to do it for Minnesota because OKC was the 10th seed last year. The Timberwolves were the 8th seed last year. The Timberwolves lost in the first round. So I think if the Timberwolves can secure a top 4 seed in the West and then get past the first round, that is a breakout for them.
But that's where I kind of have to put my hands up, and that's exactly what P's saying. You can't say that's 9 games into the season where if we're having that type of conversation, now we're jumping all the way into April and May conversations in November. So if that's the case, then you're projecting that, yes, this is the breakout team. But then that's when, if we're going to just go based off that, where I think that, yes, they are breaking out too, but that also would go hand in hand with now your expectations are you can't lose in the first round. If you're breaking, but that's playoff talk where the Pacers weren't a playoff team. OKC wasn't a playoff team. These teams are putting themselves on the map.
Situation where you could just break out by having a high seed and you don't have to go make this deep run in the playoffs.
Kings.
Yeah, essentially, even if the Pacers say for example the Pacers get the 6th seed, right, and the Bucks get the 3rd seed, just because they lose in the first round don't mean they didn't have a breakout year.
But a breakout is also how you view a team. So like,
and we view Minnesota as a already top-notch team in the conference.
Do we
already.
Though? I feel like walking into the season,
walking
even
into
last
the season,
year,
I didn't know
people viewed
one
Minnesota as
no, we had them as a top 5 seed though.
not a tier 1 team.
I
though.
didn't. I sure as hell
don't
No,
think I
I'm just talking about for regular season purposes.
I didn't
right?
have them top 5.
We had them doing it.
I had them
exactly
making.
what
I
they're
had
doing.
them making the playoffs. I had them as a top 8 team for sure.
But that part of it is where it get tricky because
I'm with
where
you.
you have a team is not it isn't end all be all. Because for example, is Minnesota surprising me? Not really, because they have the talent to do what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But did I have them there? No, because I had worries about the information that was factual last year. They didn't look good in a 29-game sample size that they had with Cat and Rudy. Anthony Edwards, quote unquote, told us he lost his superpower. Those were real concerns going into this year because now you had them together. So it's like, that's the part where it's like, they're not doing anything surprising. They're just better than what you probably would have had them. But this isn't mind-blowing, y'all. Ain't nobody in here like, oh my gosh, Minnesota, can you believe what they are doing?
Number 1 defense in the league.
I damn near feel that way with Indiana. Yeah, I knew Indiana were going to be better, but they're not that much far apart from they're 6-3 and Minnesota is 5-2. They have the number 1 offense in the league. Are they as good defensively? No. But they is hooping their minds out at a point where I did not know Indiana was going to start off like this. You know what I'm saying? Just in the 9-game sample set, are they going to be like this the whole year where they're the top 3 seed out east or with this much offensive favor versus the defense? I don't know. It's not impossible. The Phoenix Suns were, they weren't rock star heavy on defense when they had success, but that's the difference in me. Like breakout to me is kind of like the MIP award. When Julius Randle and Laurie Marketing break out, it's like, whoa, didn't see that coming at all. Ja Morant, I'm surprised, but I figured he would get this point somehow. I think that's the difference for me.
I feel like you're making an amazing point. And Drew, you mentioned something also where, it's a lot of projecting. And you're right, it is projecting because it's either you're projecting the Minnesota, OKC, Indiana, whatever team you're talking about, you're projecting them to basically hold on to where they're currently standing right now. But even though Ja Morant wasn't quote unquote the most improved player because he had the skill set to put up the stats that he put up, I still think him doing that and being an all NBA performer, he did break out. So if we viewed the Timberwolves before as a playoff team, but nobody's really scared of them, and they walk into the territory of, oh shit, the Timberwolves are one of those teams you kind of got to get up for. I think that is their type of breakout.
I guess that's just being literal. I guess it would just be literal because it's like, players improve.
Even in that case,
but
though, I feel like there's more teams that you would still put over Minnesota, like Indiana, like an OKC.
Like the Kings had an unbelievable regular season last year. They had one of the best offenses in the league last season. Were they number one? Nuggets or them was number one, number two.
Number one.
So the Kings.
Oh,
Kings.
yes.
But that's offensive right. But in the regular season, hey, they looked like they were going to be one of those teams. But you felt like come playoff time, hey, you still need to see it to believe
it.
Who
picked them to win that series? Who in here picked them?
I think Joel was the only one.
Crazy.
7. Yeah.
Say you.
It went 7.
I didn't like how you gonna say you.
Yeah, because I agree with Drew. That's an excellent point. They were good, but I didn't pick them to do nothing crazy in the playoffs. And I think that's okay. That's what I'm saying. They don't have to be so damn extreme. Like the Minnesota Timberwolves, hey, y'all doing y'all thing. Are y'all surprising the hell out of me to that point where y'all to break out like this is so left field? No.
The defense being number one, being this dominant.
So OKC surprising you to that point to where you're like, okay, I'm shocked that they're this good right now.
Who, me? I never said a word about OKC. So
I was going to say, you haven't mentioned in OKC. I'm the one that respected OKC.
So are you surprised about OKC and how they're playing right now?
I'm surprised how early they figured it out. Yes.
How great Chet has looked too.
Yeah, I'm definitely surprised how good Case and Wallace looked early.
No doubt.
I am pleasantly surprised. I thought them only having Chet as their sole rim protector. I thought he would foul out a little bit more. I thought he struggled with it. He has not. I thought offensively they tried to figure it out. They have not. Case and Wallace has been good. Dort's last week had a 6-for-6 shooting day.
Chamber, man.
Yeah, like he's been great. Like they don't surprise me as much as Indiana do, but they surprise me more than Minnesota. Like Minnesota, I'm not extremely shocked they're the number one defense. Like they have Rudy, they have Jaden, they have Ant, like they have Kyle Anderson off the bench, Nasri. Like they have defensive players to get to that number one ranking. Would it be there? We don't know, but as of right now, that's what we're talking about. So
can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
If Minnesota does not end the year this high, if they're not one of the top 4 seeds, if they are 6th,
I'm more shocked.
Are they your breakout team? Or if they're 5th, are they your breakout team?
I think there's regular season and playoff breakouts. Like if Indiana ends up being the 3rd seed, but they get bounced in the first round, you're like, holy shit, breakout. If the Timberwolves end up being the 5th or 6th seed, but they win a playoff series and now they get into the 2nd round, you can still look at them as a breakout.
But I think even if they finish with a top 3 seed, that's very well a breakout. Drew mentioned the point when the Grizzlies made the playoffs, they lost to the Jazz. The next year, they were the 2nd seed in the in the Western Conference. That was a breakout. Like
that was a breakout.
We saw Memphis coming, but they still had to do that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I feel like with Minnesota, because I think in the offseason too, not a lot of people were picking Minnesota to break out. And I feel like it's because of that reason. It's because, we're kind of expecting it to happen. But it's like there's a difference
between this past playoffs. Reality. I mean, this past offseason.
This past year, like coming into this season.
Right. So this past offseason.
Yes, nobody picked Minnesota to be a breakout because I think people expected it. Where with Indiana, it wasn't that way.
I think it was polarizing. That's why you just didn't know what you were gonna get.
For me, I thought they'd be a top 5 seed. So like them doing this, I'm not like. I don't like this. Doesn't consider for me a breakout. So I understand what y'all are saying. Like, y'all didn't think this, so they're playing this well. So to y'all, I get that part because I thought they would be around where this would be because I think they have the talent to win that many games in the regular season. But Indiana doing what they're doing on the offensive end, being as quick and as fast. Tyrese not even having a high usage rate, like all that shit going on in their winning games. Like that shit is like, wow.
Minnesota is surprising me. They doing anything and they surprising me.
26. I was gonna say, you saw Bruce Brown has, I think, what is the stat? More corner threes than he did this season. He had all of.
That's what I'm saying. Like the shit they're doing is like
crazy.
They're amazing.
Hooping. It's like
Benedict fact these last couple of games he's been doing his thing.
He had 26 and 11 last game.
You was crazy. You was crazy.
Oh, Benedict, bro. Y'all gotta stop, bro.
Nah, you knew exactly what you were doing. Because he didn't even get that out and he would just look crazy at us.
You got immature, bro.
It's also like the sustainability, I guess. Like maybe you think Minnesota is gonna be where they at all year long. It's the rest of the West is going to catch up. I don't think that the Clippers and the Lakers are going to be the 10th and 11th seeds out West.
You.
So like when it starts to even out, where is Minnesota? Where are they still at? It's a possibility they could be. So, I think that's the difference when you talk about the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies actually did they actually were the second seed. They wasn't the second seed for the first 2 weeks. They were that the whole the year they did that for a year. So I guess it's kind of hard to project for all of our teams. I'm saying this for the Pacers as well, because if the Pacers slip into a play-in team, they're definitely not the breakout team. I'll tell you that. So
you think Minnesota's capable of it though? They're capable of maintaining their current standing?
Are they capable? Yeah. Would I bet that they would? No, because I have more faith in the field. And I don't think that's a knock on Minnesota, but I mean, Golden State, you have to respect. The Suns are 4-4. I don't even know what to think of them because we still haven't seen them be unified. The Lakers you respect, the Clippers you respect. So
we respect the Lakers.
Do I respect the Lakers?
Yeah. Do we have to?
We do have.
We don't. Do we like to? No.
Do your job. Do your job.
P,
You have to.
Be unbiased.
We do have to. Do we like to? No, but we have to.
Fuck no.
What the hell do we have against the Lakers? That's what I'm trying to
everything.
bro. Why?
Nobody
Why? We have LeBron, AD.
Exactly. Nobody.
We got good vibes over here.
I'm
I'm over
LeBron
here.
fan.
The real question is,
I got smoked by the Magic and the Rockets.
We beat
Rockets
the Magic, the Rockets. Hey,
Oh yeah, I got smoked by the Magic the second time.
I understand. We
They
still
did.
beat them though.
so what's more likely, Minnesota making the second round or Indiana making the second round?
Minnesota.
They're further along, and the defense too. I mean, listen, number
Hey,
one
man, listen,
offense,
if
number one
Indiana
offense.
sees- if
But
Indiana
that number one
sees-
defense moves me. That number one
That
defense
does move me.
me a lot.
If
'cause they
Indiana
got
sees the Hawks in the
guys.
playoff series,
Yes,
and Minnesota sees a team like the Lakers, I don't know. I might say
they will
Indiana
beat the
can come out.
Lakers.
That's also why I wasn't so high on them.
They would.
Hawks.
You know,
The
that-
Oh,
West
that'd be a good series.
I think
I-
Indiana.
that's
I think
offense versus
Indi-
offense.
Indiana has a easier way to figure out a matchup in the East because there's not many top teams they can't beat.
That's a fact.
So it's like I think like in the West, Minnesota is gonna have
To
struggles
play the
with
Hawks
7,
though,
8
they're
teams.
probably gonna have to get a third or fourth seed.
Yeah, but even if they get like a fifth seed, and they could play a fourth seed team, they play the Knicks, they could beat the Knicks. Like, why can't they? You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's
Or what if the Hawks are the third seed and the Pacers are the sixth? The Hawks right behind them at 4.
Who you
5, and
taking,
3.
that's
Pierre?
a tough one.
You taking Tyrese Trey?
I'm taking Tyrese Halliburton, my homie.
That's a tough series, man.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Hey, you know what? Hey, you just brought that to my mind. Hey, Joel, you got to cut it out, brother. And
What-
I'm
what
saying
I'm
this out of
doing?
love. Listen, when a player does something good, it don't have to be lined up to no other player, brother. That is, we cannot have that knock in our game.
That is
Our game
against
too
his
beautiful.
entire core beliefs.
Yeah, I don't know if
B.
I've ever seen a tweet where a player does great and there's not another player that's getting bashed.
Anthony
That
Edwards.
shit is
Jason Tatum would never
mind-blowing.
be Anthony
Never
Edwards.
forget.
Yes,
Pee-wee.
Halliburton does something and means something
Trae
against
Young.
Trae Young. Like,
Pee-wee, I want you to never forget, he went from Trey's better than Curry to Trey is not top
I
5.
wasn't there
He's
for
not
that.
top 10.
Not top
He's not
10.
top
To
10.
now,
Trey
Hallie,
wasn't
to
top
now
10.
Hallie's better than Trey. He didn't win
Hallie-
so
hey.
far away from the Trey
Hallie's-
trade.
I love you too much to allow you to be that dude, man. That's not the label.
Now
and
listen,
that's
Number
not what
one
you want
to
to be.
not
man.
top 10
He
is
has
mind blowing.
I had
So
year to
far.
year.
Trey Young
Was 10.
In
Excuse me.
20
He was 10.
Trey Young in 2022 was quite literally a top 3 point guard in basketball.
We know.
I know.
And
he wasn't
No, I'm
better
not-
than Curry.
I'm not talking about last season. I'm talking about 2
I
years
understand
ago.
what you're talking
2022.
about.
The playoffs, Trey Young had his worst playoff series against Miami. It was terrible. And then he started the year out last season inefficient. He
And
caught
Curry
up
won
when
a
Quinn
championship.
Snyder became the coach. But I saw what Tyrese did last year, carrying a Pacers squad in a similar way to what he's doing this year. And I favor Tyrese.
Didn't Trey Young do something similar down the stretch of the season with the Hawks?
There's
He
Once
far
he
more
made a
talent on
series
the
against
Hawks.
Boston,
And
too.
my argument for
Far more?
yes, there's more talent on the Hawks than there is. the
It's not
Pacers.
far more. It's like
Last
I
year's
think
team.
there's more talent.
You're saying
Yes,
last year's team?
year's team, there's more talent.
I think last year's team.
And
That's fair.
this year, they're getting some
Rick
breakouts out
mentioned
of
it.
young
you got,
players.
You got Dick. You got
you got year 2, Dick.
I
don't know.
Buddy
if
Hill,
I'm going
Miles
to concede
Turner,
to that
Bruce
point, but I don't know
Brown.
if that's a
But
fact.
ultimately, when we were doing our top 10 point guard list, my whole debate and case around Tyrese being higher than Trey was
His height.
the efficiency, the playmaking, which is on par with Trey, but he doesn't need to use the ball as much to get there, and he protects the ball much more. That's my whole point. And I think I'd rather have Tyrese leading my team.
All that is fine. I'm just saying, if Tyrese Halliburton have a good game, it don't got shit to do with Trae Young, is all I'm saying. Because then Trae Young is gonna have a good game. It's just gonna be a thing, and that you do your job too well to allow yourself to be labeled as the guy that always is doing that shit.
Always
Brock,
picking the
like,
shot.
yo,
Anthony knows.
football year, Joel, I almost muted you with the Brock Purdy shit. And I'm not even, I was like, bro, Joel, if I see the name Brock Purdy one more time, I'm going to have to clip you, man.
Imagine
Shit.
being on this
I was gonna
fucking
say,
show.
we up here
Imagine being
screaming
on
at
this
2
show.
hours. And you
Now
said
listen,
nothing about Trae
now-
Young dropping, what, 38 last night? What do you have?
He did
What
cook.
he doing?
Orlando's a top defense.
What he doing in the
too.
second half? He ain't doing much in the second
See,
half.
don't be that guy. Don't be
Bro,
that.
come on.
You sound
He's so
crazy.
serious.
You sound
Now
crazy.
Trey was phenomenal last night. It was just bad
That's what
timing,
you
but
say in a group chat,
first-
not on live.
but the first tweet, the Tatum and Edwards tweet, Edwards outplayed Tatum, and then we had a
Couldn't wait to
But
get
why
that
does
tweet
it have to
off.
be he's better than Tatum? We can
and then-
outplay him.
and then we had a Tyrese versus
Didn't
LaMelo
Tatum
matchup.
drop 30 in his own right?
He did his
And on
thing.
top of it, if not for overtime, which overtime, it was Anthony Edwards' time to shine. He
Yeah.
dominated.
What have
in
a-
regulation, Jason Tatum was
Last
just as
possession,
good.
he guarded up Ant, forced him into that three, missed. If JB
Ultimately-
makes that three, facts.
That's what we're not having this
Ultimately,
conversation.
Pierre, you got to understand something. I tweet
to me.
those things because on the show, even outside of the show, when we talk basketball. I'm talking to Dehls. Anthony Edwards is really good, man. He can be just as good
I
as Tatum.
love Ant-Man.
I get. He
So
will.
you
he
force-
won't be.
You force him
I-
into
I
this.
do.
I got
Dehls tells
Timberwolves
me-
fans in my mentions every single day saying, it was brother Jason Tatum. It's
Dehls-
your fault.
Dehls tells me, "Oh, Anthony Edwards not going to be better than Tatum. He won't be better than
That's
Tatum."
also my
I'm
favorite
getting it.
player.
I'm getting that type of backlash.
That's
So when-
you with Harden and Curry, bro.
So when Anthony Edwards shows out, I'm saying, yeah, that's a tweet to Dehls. I think last year on the podcast and even in the offseason, a debate on the podcast was Tyrese versus LaMelo between me and Drew. So when Tyrese doing his thing and LaMelo slacking, I'm tweeting this. I'm hoping Drew sees it. Like, yo, you told me at one
My
point
boy gonna
LaMelo
be
was better
alright.
than
He gonna
Tyrese.
be all right.
And then in the offseason, when I had Tyrese over Trae Young in my top point guards list, they thought it was blasphemous. But now it's not blasphemous. That's why I tweeted that. So my tweets don't be for the public. My tweets be for the show and what we doing on the show.
It's not blasphemous. Yeah, I know.
It's not. Do you think it's blasphemous having
It's
Tyrese
just going to
first?
teeter top too much. One game does not do enough.
One game doesn't do enough, but my whole basis is not off one game though. Like I don't think
It has
Tyrese.
to be.
I don't think
waits till that
Tyrese.
player goes crazy or
I don't-
another player sucks and then he gets it out.
I don't think Tyrese is better than Trae Young because of 8 games this season. It's off of what I saw last year.
Uh-oh.
That's
And in the playoffs last year, Trae Young was
We
insane.
can't talk
He
about
played
the
well
Bucks.
against
Hallie
Boston,
wasn't there,
sure.
buddy.
And then when it comes to Tyrese and LaMelo, my whole basis on why he's better is not off of the one matchup they had. It's about what they did last year.
Let
You know?
LaMelo cook.
My whole basis
gonna be
around,
alright.
like, if I understand UP, if like my whole basis is like this one game, that's why I got this player over this player. Like, that's not how I operate. I've been saying this for a while now, and it's just coming into fruition. So I just shed light to it.
All right,
So
November
I think
basketball. You gotta love it.
November basketball is always the
Nah,
best.
Can
That's-
y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, what up?
Y'all froze on my screen.
Oh, you're frozen on our screen. We
As
here?
long as y'all can hear me.
Now we can hear
I
you.
can hear you. Can you hear us?
I can hear y'all. Y'all hear me. Nothing is moving on either of my screens, but we gonna thug it out, man. Just don't put me on camera. I'll just be a background voice, man. I don't know what the hell going on.
I'll narrate the podcast.
This week in the NBA, now, ironically enough, this week in the NBA is Tyrese Halliburton averaging 24
Shocker.
game, 12 assists per game, first in the NBA, 50, 40, 94 club, and first best offensive rating in the NBA right now. I think it's ironic that last year the Kings had the best offensive rating in the NBA because they got Sabonis paired up with Fox. And now a year later, the player that got sent out for Sabonis in the trade and Tyrese is now leading a team that is number 1 in offensive rating. So when it comes to that, I'm looking at that and I'm saying Tyrese is special, man. And the way he's leading this Indiana Pacers unit is special. I'm hoping that he can be healthy because last year he was unhealthy and that's what cost him a playoff spot. But Tyrese has been exceptional this year. One of the best point guards in the NBA. You can argue he's been the top 3 point guard this year.
He's been great. My district in the NBA. Prayers for my guy Rob Will. I'm going down with season-ending knee surgery. It's a shame, man, because every year, really, with him, he's been banged up. When he's on the court, you see the explosiveness. You see his defensive capabilities. Just a couple of years ago, before he went down to injury, he was in that conversation for all NBA type defender, defensive player of the year type of guy. This is, I believe, also the opposite knee that's been, he's been dealing with for multiple years there in Boston. So prayers to Rob Will. Hopefully he gets healthy.
Yeah, Mr. Foreign.
Okay. I just had a little stat I wanted to share. Most effective defenders in isolation for 2022, 2023 so
Can we
far.
guess?
Minimum 10 possessions.
That's last year, bro. 2022, 2023 was last year.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. No, 2023, 2024
Mhm.
so far. Minimum
Caruso.
10 possessions. Caruso is not up here. You're actually not going to guess the first two, so I'm just going to name them.
Oh, okay.
Isn't Jokic on there?
At number 1 is Jalen Johnson at negative 0.38.
I did see this list.
Number
Mhm.
2 is Jaime Jaquez from
Mhm.
Miami.
I did see that.
Number 3 is Bam Adebayo. Duh.
Mhm.
Number 4 is Al Horford. Number 5 is OG Anunoby. And the bottom 5 would be Bobby Portis, Isaiah Stewart, Cam Thomas, Luka Doncic, and Brook Lopez. So the 5 best and then the 5 worst.
Yeah, Brook
Isolation
Lopez
defenders.
really has been bad, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Al has been that high. He got cooked by
Hey, listen, it's
Embiid,
Embiid, man.
It's
Yeah.
Embiid. I know it just last year.
You
I
heard
got
that,
used to him.
that name at the bottom 5, though, right?
Yeah, I heard that guy. I heard that guy.
Who was it? I forgot. It slipped my mind.
Luka Doncic.
Oh,
It was Luka.
yeah.
What's the Mavericks record?
his
Tell me.
headphone must.
What's
be
they seeding?
Warriors 6-3.
What's they seeding?
I don't care.
All right. There have been only 2 players over the last 50 years to average this stat line. Now, I'm going to share the stats, and then I want you guys to guess who the players are. 20 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game, over 1 steal per game, and over 2 blocks per game.
Joel Embiid
Name those 2 players. Joel Embiid?
is one.
Incorrect.
So run the stats
Okay.
back one more time.
There's only 2 players over the last 50 years to average over 20 points per game, over 10 rebounds per game, over 5 assists per game, over 1 steal per game, and over 2 blocks per game.
Sengun?
No.
It's not
That's a good
Shingun.
guess.
At the blocks.
Hey, listen, you 7 feet, you can get a block, man. Who the fuck averages that?
Chet's at like 18, right?
Chet's
not
not
Chet.
there.
Chet-
It's
Chet's
not
gonna
not
have
Chet.
20 a game, yeah. Is it Bam?
It's not Bam.
Is it Anthony Davis?
It's not.
It ain't fucking Draymond. So what are we doing here?
How about
Over the last 50 years, get the old head out of the way, and then it's this year. Who's the player? Get the old head out of the way. I'll get the old head out of the way.
Shaq?
No.
Kareem?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, who's this other player?
Giannis.
No.
Damn.
God, I love that you guys aren't getting it. It's going to make it that much
2010.
more sweeter.
LeBron James?
Nope.
It's not LeBron. Is it?
Yeah, he's
It's
not
a wing
having
though,
2
right?
blocks.
It is.
It is a wing.
Sort of, kind of.
Luka.
Tough. No.
2 blocks?
Oh, you said 2 blocks?
Pete, you got a guess?
Pierre's
He's gone.
had
He's
to
coming back.
rejoin. Yes.
That's fine.
I'm trying to think. Who the
You're saying a wing. It's a wing.
Sort
player.
of, kind of. He
So you're
is a
saying
wing.
he's
His
a front-
position's a wing.
He's a front court player or no? So would you classify as a power forward?
He's a point forward.
20 and 10?
20, 10, 5 over a steal.
10 assists?
No, 10 rebounds.
Zion?
No.
Cade
No.
Cunningham?
No.
Nah,
Good
Cade
guess.
ain't-
Good guess. But you wouldn't get the blocks.
You don't get the rebounds.
All right, I'm going to give you guys 3 more guesses.
East or West?
East.
Please give us 3 guesses. 1, 2, 3.
Of course.
So think hard on this.
Scotty
one.
Barnes.
Bang!
We're here.
Scotty motherfucking Barnes. All I'm saying is, of course, this isn't something that's
Did you look at
sustainable.
Did you look at the?
I was just looking at standings, just looking at teams.
You cooked. You cooked. Well done.
Indeed, you cooked. You cooked for sure.
Scotty's been an amazing defender. On top of
give
it,
you your
he's
ball
been
knowledge
getting
card back.
to his bucket. He has been phenomenal so far this season. Just wanted to shed some light on that because the fans have been keeping tabs on Scotty Barnes. They know that I've stood 10 toes for my guy. So it's obviously great to see the output from a Scotty Barnes. Him really putting that true breakout that I thought it'd be last year. But hey, just as good this year. Say that again, P.
I was 10 toes for my guy.
I said 10 toes, P. Listen, man, I'm real. What can I say?
You are real, brother. You are real. I'm
Appreciate
back though. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yo, did you hear that? Scotty Barnes. There's only 2 players in the last 50 years, average over 20, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. Kareem and Scotty.
Oh, one of those stats. Okay.
Don't you love those? 20, 10, 5, 1, and 2 is nuts, though. He's stuffing the stuff.
No,
No, it's unsustainable. It's
Where are the turnovers?
unsustainable. That's what I'm saying. The
He doing his
turnovers
thing,
where he's
though.
got to
I feel
lock
like-
in.
I feel like
He's got to lock in.
Asar is doing that without the points.
He is.
He is.
He is.
Once he gets his bucket,
He's leading the draft in rebounds.
rebounds. He's awesome.
He's like,
Hey,
what's
the
going on?
buckets is a big part of it. Though.
He
It
needs
is.
buckets.
He
though.
does.
Scotty
Yeah.
doing
That's
his
why
thing.
Scotty's been impressive, bro.
He just can't
And
shoot.
he's been efficient.
Kind
He
of
can't
bad.
shoot at all.
Airballs a lot.
I love that Scotty taking them middies, baby. I'm a mid-range
That's
lover.
a fact. He's taking the middies and then he's knocking down the threes. He's shooting almost 40% from 3. He's shooting almost 50% from the field.
That's good.
Shot has been much better. You got it this week in the NBA, Dehls?
Rob Will.
Oh shit.
We didn't
Rob
care
Will.
that much. That's why.
Oh man, Robert.
Whoa,
Williams.
didn't care that much is
Bro,
insane.
Can you show some damn respect?
Didn't care that much as nuts.
Shame on you,
Not
Riv.
about his age.
Damn, Rob Will, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like he said a Boston take. You know, we wasn't really listening when he
He's on
talked
the
about Boston.
Timberwolves. Timberwolves.
Look at you.
Fuck, Trailblazers.
You got it this week in the NBA, P?
College basketball is back.
Love that.
That's my this week. I'm watching Arizona Wildcats against Duke right now.
P, put me on some game, bro. Give me a team that I got that I should watch. Low key team, mid team. That's not seeing Hall basketball. Well, obviously, I take your input.
Stop.
So Shu got a couple 4-stars.
Dude, there's multiple people I can ask. This guy's getting all sensitive. Talk to me, P. All I said was, yo, put me onto a low key college basketball team. Just one low key team. That's
people be asking. People be saying that. I say watch all. I don't watch for no team. Watch the players.
I got to start somewhere. Let me start somewhere, and then let me build.
Watch Louisville.
Okay. All right. The one team that I will say that I claim that's not Seton Hall, outside of Seton Hall and Iona, of course, would be Michigan. And I say that because when Trey Burke and McGarry were killing it in the tournament, that was my squad. They were a 4 seed. And when I did my bracket, they surprised me. They made it all the way to the fucking tourney. I had them going up against Louisville, but Michigan obviously came up short. I picked them to win. But
you probably thought them dudes was gonna kill it in the NBA too, didn't you?
No, McGarry, he was so good in the tournament run, but Burke was different. He was different. Just down the stretch, hitting big shot after big shot. I definitely thought Trey Burke was gonna be better than he was in the NBA.
Well,
No Nick Stauskas love?
Stauskas was great, obviously in college too, but I think he was a freshman then. He was a freshman. Tim Hardaway Jr. was on that team.
Yeah,
Tim Hardaway was tough. If you would have told me he was the best player of all of them, I wouldn't have believed you. But I knew Tim was like that in Michigan too.
My money was on him. I wasn't the biggest, but I just knew he could shoot. I agree. I wasn't high on Trey Burke like others, but I agree. I definitely thought he would have been better.
He went to Utah and had the keys virtually.
So, but to finish that story, that's why you say Louisville. It's funny because again, the only team outside of Seton Hall and Iona that I would somewhat watch or fuck with is Michigan, and they lost to Louisville in that national championship. So that's why I say it's funny.
Who does Louisville have right now, P?
They have a guy by the name of Trey. I think Trey White transferred there,
but they got
good block. They got Kenny Payne. Kenny Payne is the head coach. Kenny Payne came from Kentucky.
I see St. John's is playing good basketball. I unfortunately have to
Rick Pitino. There you go.
I have to boycott him. I can't root for him.
Why?
He abandoned Iona. He pieced out.
Oh my gosh, that was the most predictable thing in the universe.
I know, but I was sad.
It's Rick Pitino we talking about. You thought he was going to coach at Iona for the rest of his life?
I'll tell you what,
big money Rick.
I would have treated him like a god. You go to Iona, obviously we won the MAC multiple times while he was there, but nevertheless, you would have made us one of the best programs in the country. I would have geeked the fuck out.
I feel you.
Week in Super Chats, we got a couple. Santos goes, "What's up, Pick a Side P?" And Rivers slacking on the videos.
You are.
Hey,
you are, but he said he's dropping a vid.
Tomorrow?
He's dropping a vid. Ironically, college basketball.
Don't talk to me.
Hey man, why you don't be dropping the vids?
Yo, he's a child. We got a grown child right here.
Why you not dropping the vids, Riv?
I'm gonna drop tomorrow, man.
You dropped one last week. Been a while though.
Riv, you gonna need me to get back on the show with you, bro?
I'm
you gonna need me to do
tomorrow.
that?
I don't need you tomorrow.
Yo, you can treat me like the casual. You remember the idea that?
Come on, Riv, you can do this.
Go ask Pee-wee, man. I don't need you tomorrow, man.
All right, give me a team that's not Louisville.
Nah, fuck you, bro.
Are you kidding me? I can't have multiple guys.
You should have asked me first. You asked a man on another podcast instead of your man's on your own podcast.
This is our brother. This is Pick a Side
I get that.
P.
But we on the podcast together. You asked him before me. You're done.
Come on, bro. We've already had college basketball talks already.
Who would you have said though, Riv? Yeah. I just pulled a team out my ass.
I would have told him just watch Seton Hall. Like that's right by home.
That's what I said. Outside of Seton Hall. I said that in my statement. I said outside of Seton Hall.
He did say that.
Someone watch USC, bro.
No. I would say watch Creighton.
Give me someone I could grow.
Creighton.
But that's in the Big East, though.
Creighton is
Drew. You said
I'm
you can't be no, it can't be this.
No, easy.
Okay, Miami.
I'm here. All right, I fuck with that. Thank you. Good. Hey,
you never get nothing from me ever again, though. So don't.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Miami. That's it.
Listen, is that crazy? P, I said you can't give me a team in the Big East. Also, that's in the same conference as my guys.
Beggars can't be choosers.
Like imagine like you would say, "Yo, watch Nova." How crazy would that
You
be?
asked him, bro.
Like, yo, watch Xavier.
It's just you had a lot of stipulations.
Drew, you're not understanding the
You asked
principle.
for a favor,
You're not
last
understanding the
place.
principle.
Bro,
Pee
we've
Wee's our
already
brother.
had
We know
talks,
that.
though.
Pee Wee is our bro.
Bro,
But you stepped over your bro to get to your other bro. I don't like that.
Bro, that's nuts. We've already had college basketball conversations.
But you didn't ask me, bro.
Come on, bro.
You
We
could've
went through
asked
the
me.
trenches in college basketball.
Nah, bro.
You gonna act like we didn't do all of our scouting?
That has
together,
nothing
bro?
to do with college, bro.
That's
We were watching
scouting's
OTE players.
college. Yeah, we did. We locked in, man.
Stop.
We did.
Damian Delgado goes, can Trey Jones be a more realistic option for a true point guard for the Suns?
They have the money
For the Suns, or do he mean the Spurs?
No, he's means
For the
for the
Suns.
Suns to trade for. I don't think Trey Jones is going to be moved like
Yeah, I
that.
don't know why.
I think TJ McConnell is a realistic option.
And you've been saying
asked
that for a
TJ
minute.
McConnell for fucking half the year, bro.
That's the only player I would name.
Who was it? Reese? I think it was actually Reese who just tweeted saying that you could be on TikTok. You find the most random player with highlights. He put up a clip of TJ McConnell
Yeah.
highlights. Was it? It was Reese, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, McConnell is a good basketball player, but you know,
Hey,
of course.
I tweeted about this before. DeLon Wright, man. DeLon Wright.
Okay, that's
I'm
I
not
like the
assuming-
line, right?
I'm assuming he's a Suns fan because Damian Delgado goes again. Joel, get your flowers for your Bates Diop take.
We gave it to him. We gave it to him.
He's finally playing.
He has. That's
He is
really what
playing.
it's been. He's played
Our whole
okay.
issue is he wasn't playing.
That
That's
is
what I'm
that
saying.
was our issue.
He took your victory lap too early, Riv.
I didn't take
It
it.
was you.
I'm
No,
looking-
no, if you were taking your
I
victory
asked
lap.
you why isn't he
But you
playing?
were laughing. But you were laughing.
So wait, so he can take his victory lap for 2 games? Okay.
I'm not
fine.
taking my victory lap. It's a super
Fine.
chat we just got.
He cooked.
We
Fine.
just got a super
Fine.
chat.
Fine.
Let him cook.
I wouldn't have mentioned Bates Diop if the super chat never came.
Riv, I
That's
see
why
you.
I came. Kata Bates Diop last game, 7 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks.
That's cute.
Wow.
Are you
Little bit
fucking
everything.
kidding me?
Impressive.
Wow.
He's wilding. He's wilding.
3 blocks?
No,
That doesn't
that's not
move
why
you?
No, you read the whole talk about some wow. Be serious.
3 blocks.
You say wow to Scotty Barnes' stat line. You don't say wow.
I
He
say
did
wow
it.
to that
He said,
too.
"Oh,
Yeah, right. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, nice. Really nice.
Yeah,
Oh, it's one of those stat lines.
yeah, it's cool."
Did you
though.
see Bates Diop defensively on the Bulls?
I didn't watch that fucking game.
This guy. He's a Bulls fan.
Well, the Bulls.
We were
beat
down
them.
20-2 in the first 5 minutes.
And you guys-
bro,
it was a
that game was
close ass game
amazing
for
at
like
the
the
end.
majority of
Yeah,
the
it
game.
was, but I'll be honest with you, bro. When I saw 20-2, I'm like, I can't do this tonight. And I,
I
went
think
to
it was
sleep.
That
DeMar
was
or
the first Bulls
Levine.
game I watched in a minute.
Nah, it
Not
was-
gonna lie to you, bro.
It was DeMar who Bates Diop clamped up in the last
Shit was
possession.
nuts, bro. 20-2 to start. I turned it off, went to sleep, bro. I was like, I can't do this tonight.
Trishan
lost by
Prashad
one. You
goes,
lost by one. I thought you won by one. You lost.
They
by
threw
one.
an oop to Zach.
Drew, I know this is late, but question, why did no one mention how impressive it is that Corey Seager has interleague WS MVPs first ever?
That is pretty awesome to say that. Well, we have to give Corey Seager his flowers for the idea of he's one of 4 players in history of baseball, which has been one of the most. It is the most ongoing sport that we have in the 4 major sports. For him to be one of, it was him, Sandy Koufax, Reggie Jackson, who was labeled Mr. October, and one other that I'm blanking off the top of my head. It's another pitcher. But regardless, for that to be the case and to be in that type of conversation, he's already a first ballot Hall of Famer. To do that, you're a first
Easily.
ballot Hall of Famer.
He's been impressive.
Hey,
He's
he's
one-
also up by 15.
Tough.
You've been
He's
locked in.
He's been awesome.
no, and Pete, that's one thing I want to give you your credit to, bro. You were locked in all postseason long. I definitely took note of that too. But yo, Seager was unbelievable. And where Adolis, I think that if he would have been healthy, I would have loved to see what he could have done in terms of the grand total of the postseason run. But after game 1, Seager hitting that go ahead home run, he kind of locked, or not go ahead, game tying home run in the 9th to give game 1. That's a huge swing momentum type of game for him to lock that game up. And for
That's
him to
Corey
be as
Seager,
dominant as he
bro.
was. You're not even kidding, P.
I don't know. The dude just got the cojones for it. I love him because I'm the Dodgers have always been my favorite NL teams growing up. And so I was attached to Corey Seager. I love me some Corey Seager. He just some people just have this little button that they press in those moments, and he is one of them. But yeah, I love that you said first ballot Hall of Famer. This dude, man, I'm not jealous of many people, but he got 2 rings. He got a lot of money.
A lot. I got goosebumps just talking about it, bro.
He good. He already good. How old is Corey Seager? He probably
I
what?
don't think he's 30.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
If he's 30, he must be 30 flat. I'm about to look
I
it up.
think
right
Corey Seager might be my age.
now.
Or
29.
a year
He's
older.
younger.
Let's see.
A year
He's
older.
a year
excuse me.
older.
Mhm.
So to not be 30 and to have all of that, he up, feet up,
He 29
feet
years
up.
old and
2
you're
World Series
stamped.
MVPs. He can chill, no pressure, man.
It's like Mahomes.
He literally has
No
no pressure
pressure.
the rest of his career. He already got it done over there in the Dodgers uniform. But winning that World Series is to me.
laughing at, Riff?
Is it Mahomes? I'm not.
Had to bring up.
Is it not like Mahomes?
No, but I respect him. Listen, he's not a baseball head. He's trying to relate it to
It's like
what he
Mahomes.
knows.
I said it's like.
Is he? That's the thing. That's what I'm saying.
Nah, he's
You
not
don't
Mahomes.
know what
He's
he's
not
not
Mahomes. He's not Mahomes, bro. He's not. I'm trying to think at shortstop.
Jimmy
No. Yes.
Don't compare. It's baseball. It's baseball.
It is baseball, but I'm trying to help
Who did
them
you
out.
say
who
yes
don't watch
to?
baseball. I said Jimmy Butler, but he finished.
He is
the
not
job.
no fucking Jimmy Butler.
Yeah,
Stop.
no.
He is not no Jimmy Butler.
Playoff.
I'm trying to. Let me think of one.
What is he like? What is his game? Give me his game. What's his
Okay, well he's an amazing hitter. He's not a
game?
really
Is he like
this
a regular
power
season?
hitter.
He chills and in playoffs.
No, he's a great player regardless of the situation.
Why?
He fried. He got you hit it right on the nail with that one.
Actually did it.
He did.
You actually.
He did. You bodied it.
Wait, no. You know why he's not Kawhi?
Why?
Regular season?
No,
Corey
he cooks
Seager
in the
came in. Corey Seager is highly touted.
He's
So we have to think of a
Damn, I
guy
was
that
close.
came in, but you
All right,
are
well,
so
fuck it,
close,
man.
Rev, because he
Team
won with San
Olajuwon?
Antonio.
Olajuwon?
But Olajuwon ain't do it with two teams.
Yeah.
We got to think somebody who won in two different
It's
places.
almost. I don't know.
Damn.
I don't know.
Two different places. He came out.
He
highly
came in
touted.
as that. So that's the thing.
Came in
Corey
as that
Seager
guy.
came
Corey
in
was
as
that guy.
Highly touted. That's already pressure.
No. Because
He
that's
played in a
one.
market. He played.
did.
He got drafted to the Dodgers, LA.
The
He
Dodgers.
delivered.
And the
Got
thing
his
is, Texas,
bag.
they chat like Texas Rangers fans are trying to say
He
that
only. He's not LeBron, so
he's
I
not
can't say
LeBron. He's not LeBron.
Damn near. No,
He
real
wasn't
shit
that
though.
guy. Nah, the LeBron comparison in baseball will always be Bryce Harper.
Phenom.
Yeah,
6
for
Yeah,
sure.
you know,
Yeah.
Kawhi is so close as he did it with
I
two
think
teams.
P, you got it. It's as close as
He's
it's
so
gonna get.
close,
It's as
yo.
close as it's gonna get.
It is.
'Cause
It
he
is.
wasn't highly
Kawhi
touted.
just ain't playing that market to have to win in that market coming in from day one. You know what I'm saying?
Trying, NBA
But I
hard.
will also say, Seager being World Series MVP that year, he wasn't the best player on his team. He just
was
got hot.
clutch.
He just got
Yeah, he
hot.
was clutch.
Because Mookie Betts
clutch.
was the best player on their team, still is the best player on their team. So for him to be World Series MVP, he just went into one of those modes. With the Rangers, you could debate he's the best player on the team, but Marcus Semien was just the most consistent player for them all season long. Adolis Garcia was unbelievable all season long and the postseason.
Mhm.
But again, you just have one of those moments. His just happens to be in the most important series of the year.
Yeah, I ain't got nobody else for you. I'm sorry.
Who is it? P, do you know the other guy to win World Series MVP twice? It's Sandy Koufax. It's Reggie Jackson. It's Corey Seager.
October, baby.
Who's the pitcher? It's gonna piss me off. No,
Is it like way out of our time, or is it?
I don't think Sandy Koufax is the one that's way out of our time.
Yeah, it's a pitcher who's
Piss me off.
Just look it up, bro.
won a World Series on a National League and American League.
No. Just two-time World Series MVP. Only 4 players.
Oh,
He's the only player to do it with multiple teams.
that's a good question.
It's one more player.
Bob Gibson.
Yes, son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's way out of our time.
Yes, that is way out. Yes,
That's way
but
out.
But Bob was
You was not thinking.
no. I completely slipped my mind. But Bob was one of them ones. He's one of the greatest pitchers ever.
Yeah, Reggie Jackson and Corey are the only ones that win it for two different teams.
I think he has the record still for lowest ERA in a season,
I
which
don't
is
know
like a
what that
$1.17.
means.
Earn run average, you know what that is, bro. You're not a casual like that.
Yes, I am.
You know what earn run
Like
average
one of the
is.
most popular stats for pitchers.
You know what ERA
Run
is.
averages.
ERA, yeah.
ERA.
That's that they use all the time, bro.
He played for the Cardinals. Nah, he
I
was
just
OD.
like what I literally do is go to Astro games, and if we score, it's lit. And if we don't score, I'm fucking sick.
I'm cool with
You're a
that.
runs kind of guy.
Yes,
That's
runs.
but hey, you
Yeah.
gotta score to win.
yeah. So I'm just waiting to see casually if we score. If we
Yo,
don't score,
P,
that's it.
before we get back into basketball, Tim Anderson, man, I'm sorry. That
Don't be
sucked.
sorry for me.
Now you're happy?
All them motherfuckers can go. I'm not. All of them. All of them can go. I'm not.
I like Tim. I think Tim really.
I like Tim too, but they suck. So
Yeah,
I'm not. I like my team more than I like players. So it's the
stay
same thing
consistent.
with like Julius Randle. I don't root against him, no ill will. But if you ain't doing what you gotta do, a la vista, kick rocks. Don't let the doorknob hit you with the good Lord split you. All of that.
Kick
shit.
rock.
See you later, alligator. Wish you well. But yeah, it was time for something new in Chicago. So let everybody go if you have to. Besides Dylan Cease and Luis Roberts. So It's cool, man. Hopefully he goes
Dylan
somewhere.
Cease had a down season too, didn't he?
I'll still keep him though. Yeah,
for
nothing.
sure.
Everything
You
was
need
down in
You need
Chicago.
pitching.
Santos
Everything was
goes Lakers equals pretenders.
No.
Oh, why are we bringing up the Lakers? This is why we hate the Lakers, because we can't go 3 minutes without talking about it.
Hey, don't do that. Look into the camera when you're going to talk about the Lakers, bro. All right.
Hey,
please.
shout out to Riv, man. That Kawhi Leonard one was
You
good.
bodied it. Perfect.
I just looked at all of the people who have won the most championships, and he doesn't match up with anybody besides that one.
The only one that was like highly touted and won 2 different was Kareem, and I wasn't saying.
And we
Kareem.
can't say Brady. We can't say Brady because Brady he's the GOAT. He's the greatest ever. I don't think Corey Seager will go down as the greatest shortstop ever, but he's definitely in the conversation.
Who knows? At 29 with this resume, who knows?
It's tough.
I'm just talking shit.
Yeah, I know. I just look at Ohtani. I just don't know if I'm going to ever see someone like him again.
He's coming to Houston, man.
I'll drop
Ohtani
that.
is what?
I think he's the best baseball player I've ever seen
Why?
because he's doing something that we've never seen at the best of the best level.
So is he the most unique?
He's both.
He's the best player you've
both.
ever seen.
And to me to say that when Alex Rodriguez
Come on.
is by far and away my most favorite. Just he made me love the game of baseball. For me to say
Mike
that
Trout too.
I'm sorry.
I'm fine with the Mike Trout shit.
better than Mike.
I'm fine with the Mike Trout.
He's better than Mike.
But I think about
He hits
Alex
the foul.
Rodriguez,
A-Rod's my guy.
and I
A-Rod's
think
my
about
sister.
Barry Bonds.
It's A-Rod and Barry. I didn't get
Barry
to see,
Bonds
I didn't
is
get to
by
see
far
Barry.
the greatest player I have ever seen with my 2 eyes.
I caught Barry at the tail end, which kind of sucks because I was like 6. I was like,
Pee-wee, how old are you?
he's 28.
28.
Oh,
He got
you
this-
saying you didn't catch him? You caught out, make it sound like Pee-wee like 35.
Four years with Barry Bonds mattered
Okay,
because in that time period from 98 to 2004, I
mean,
that was like his last year where he was great.
Don't get me
was-
wrong, Drew is cooking. There is a big portion of Barry Bonds that I didn't see. So that's why I say Barry Bonds is out of this world. But see, my pops was a big baseball guy. So when I was growing up, Barry Bonds was a home run hitter who had a strong ass cannon of an arm. And then my pops was like, hey, you don't know this, but 13 years ago, he used to also lead the league in stealing bases. he was skinny, he was fast.
40.
So it's like, when you think about all of that, but even without me seeing that, Barry Bonds was just purely just like a
Dominant.
yeah, just dominant.
So the players, it's Bonds, it's A-Rod, it's Griffey, and it's Ohtani.
But now see the whole
And Griffey
thing.
Jr.
To see the whole thing, he up there, Alex Rodriguez. To see
A-Rod.
somebody's whole shit, I
A-Rod.
ain't never seen nobody.
I saw it all.
That dude,
I get
that's
goosebumps.
crazy.
I swear
And
to
I don't
God.
care about steroid talk.
So why do you
Alex
think
Rodriguez.
Because
Could pitch
Ohtani
and-
can throw 101. He can change it up and throw 79. He is a strikeout pitcher on top of being an efficient pitcher.
Sounds like MJ, man.
He is MJ.
He's just going to have to do it for the entire.
He's got to stay healthy, man. He's got to get to a team that's
John
gonna let
injury.
him show him.
That's a lot on his body.
If I put that much money that one of these teams are going to put into him,
500.
Do you know why that money's going to be worth it though? Because he's throwing 100 and he's able to pitch and hit. But when it comes to hitting, he's one of the best hitters in the game. He just hit for over 300, hit over
but
40.
if he can't pitch, you're gonna feel robbed. If you give him $500 million
Right.
and they end up saying, "Man, this dude should not continue to pitch,"
that
you're gonna
injury
feel like
cost
you got
him.
robbed.
That
Is it
injury
Tommy
cost him
John?
150.
Tommy John, yes, it is.
We've seen pitchers come back from Tommy John.
Be better. Be better.
That's why it's not
Yeah.
the end of the world.
But
Brody
ain't this his
Years,
second
41.
Tommy John?
Second,
Yes, it's his second Tommy
He
John.
have his first one. He was young
when
in
he was
Japan.
young in Japan.
Damn.
No, but he
He
is.
be hitting and pitching the same
Yeah.
game, right? That's
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
the
Yo,
issue.
P, I gotta be honest with you, bro. Talking baseball with someone else, obviously you and I can talk baseball, but talking baseball
start
with
the
someone
match
that's gonna
somehow.
talk about history,
Start to Andrew
like-
Velez show.
baseball wise, I really gotta lock in. I just care about my Yankees. I care about the history of the game, and of course,
I feel you, bro. It's hard. It is hard to lock in though. It's probably my. I don't know. I was better at basketball, naturally, but I love baseball. But it is hard when the basketball and the other stuff become the job
Mhm.
because it's 162 games, all of the player movement. You're trying to keep up with the guys established, and then you got the minor leagues. You want to, you know what I'm saying? Like I know who Corey Seager is because I was tapped into the minor leagues, so that's important to know. It's just a lot going on, and then trying to keep up with college basketball, the NBA, college football, NFL. You know what I'm saying? So I feel you on that, but I love baseball, and it's worth being locked into. But our growing up years was definitely the prime time of baseball.
we
man.
were blessed.
We were.
We were
We were
blessed.
so blessed, bro. So blessed, bro.
And it's
Derek
crazy.
Jeter, Nomar Garcia Parra,
I
Alex
don't-
Rodriguez,
I don't like
Miguel
Red Sox.
Tejada.
I think David Ortiz is the best postseason player I've ever seen in my life. I think, and that's saying someone where
He used to get Yankee
yes,
Red Sox playoff baseball.
You're gonna make me cry, man. I'm serious.
A-Rod and Jason
bro.
Varitek fighting at home plate. Oh man.
A-Rod's funny as fuck, bro. He was struggling so much. He goes and he hits like a little dribbler to the pitcher. He's running to first base. And instead of just running the base out and getting out, he swipes at the pitcher's glove to try and save himself from getting out. He gets called out, but bro, he was just so desperate to win.
Yeah.
Going to New York, that was all was on his. In 2004, we blew a 3-0 lead. Never been done in any sports. No one's
that's
ever
when the Red Sox had the curse.
That was the first championship
Yes.
they ever won. The curse of the Bambino broke against the Yankees.
Theo Epstein, baby.
They did it against the Yankees, who they ended up giving Babe Ruth to.
Damn.
And you know what's funny? Before that, Alex Rodriguez was a Ranger. He said he was sitting on his couch and he was watching the playoffs, and he told his agent Scott Boras,
I need to be a part of it, man.
I'm playing for either one of these teams, man. And I always think about what it would have been like if he went to the Red Sox.
I feel like a kid.
He was close to, right? I remember
he was going to go to the Red Sox.
Yes.
He was going to go to the Red Sox, but the Player
Imagine,
Association said it is impossible. You can't do this. You will be going back on everything that we've worked so hard for. You can't take this type of a pay cut. Because he was going to be playing alongside Nomar Garcia. He was going to be playing alongside David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez. That was about to be the greatest lineup ever. And they said, you can't do it. But you know what? He had a conversation with Cashman, and Cashman was like, hey, if you want to play third base, you got to spot on the team. So he was like, nah, come on, I'm a shortstop. Just won 2 Gold Gloves. And they had Derek Jeter, the pride and joy of MLB, the pride and joy in New York City, even to this day. And they started talking, started getting a little drinks flowing. And they was like, third base, huh? Okay, maybe we could do that. Maybe we could do that.
History wants I wish A-Rod would have went to Boston. Just revisionist history.
No,
A-Rod versus Jeter.
My life would be so different, man. It would be so different. I would go from idolizing this man to he being one of my least favorite players in my where Poppy, he killed us. It took me growing up to appreciate Poppy.
You're right.
What he means to the game.
I got them next to each other up there. I know you can't see it as far, but there's A-Rod, Ichiro, Jeter. They get the top shelf.
Yo, you respect Ichiro there too, bro.
We got Sammy Sosa, Scott Podsednik. We got Nomar Garcia Parra. We got Scott Rowland and Manny Machado.
Yeah, I've seen that Machado one of yours. That one's tough.
But yeah, man, baseball is a beautiful sport, man. If I have a son, I hope he plays baseball.
That's why I appreciate my dad for that. He's like, you know, you can play basketball. You're going to stay away from football, but baseball, you could really make something happen. And honestly, great. I wouldn't take it back.
Agree. My pops introduced me to baseball too. I used to think it was boring, but
playing it and watching, so different.
Yes,
so different. When you're locked in on the game and you're in the batter's box watching being a part of a live AB, it's just such a different feel.
Who was your favorite player growing up? That wasn't like one of the main guys.
The thing is, I was blessed. I was a Yankee fan, so it was always A-Rod. But
even before he was a Yankee.
But again, I was 2004. I was 6 years old. So you know what I mean? Like, I'm watching that 2004.
With that.
Exactly.
So you don't even really remember A-Rod with the Rangers.
No, all I have is YouTube and understanding that he was still one of the, even with the Mariners. The Mariners in his rookie season. It wasn't his rookie season. That was 2001. He was a young guy. He hit over 40 home runs. He was one of the best players in the game. The Mariners go and have the most successful regular season ever.
And losing.
They go and they play the Yankees and they blow it.
That team never should have been broken up. You do not break up the team that Seattle had. Randy Johnson, Alex Rodriguez, King Griffey Jr., Edgar Martinez. You don't break up a team like that. Lou Piniella as the coach.
They couldn't afford it. A-Rod wanted 250. That's why he got traded to Texas. He won MVP and they were in last place.
Yep.
Santos goes MLB episodes with Drew and P ?
There you go.
There we go.
Man, but it would be tough because we would have to have revisionists. Because today's game is exciting, but like not like what we talking about.
No, we grew up in one of the golden ages of baseball.
Yes, legitimately. And I know everybody likes to say that about their eras and different things. That was the time to be a baseball fan.
You know who I liked, and ironically is on another team that I'm not supposed to like? David Wright. I think David Wright was just one of those
a baseball player.
played the game the way
Come
that
on.
it's supposed to be played.
Absolutely.
Great answer. That's a ball player, folks.
That is a
The
ball player.
fact
To
the
a
play that
T.
always sticks out to me is the one that he's running to the outfield, just doesn't have any time, just straight reaction.
Catch it one hand, bare hand.
Bare-handed
Oh my
catch,
gosh.
full extension.
Yes.
That was the same year Jeter had the catch in the stands.
Yep,
too. I remember them going
When he
back.
came up and his face is scratched.
Yeah,
and shit.
yeah. That was like, what was the best catch of the year?
Yeah, that
Oh,
David
so
Wright
it's
catch was
2000,
crazy.
I
I
know
tried to
Jose
reenact
Reyes.
that catch so many times. Oh,
I
man.
always wanted like David Wright and Jose Reyes because the other side you got Jeter and A-Rod. I'm like, nah, give me
Yeah.
my guys. But it was always fun.
Last
Jose
name, that's
Reyes.
what we move
I
on.
love
Jose
Jose
Reyes is a
Reyes.
One of
legend.
them ones, man.
Carlos Beltran.
That was
Now-
a right-handed guy. When you said your answer was David Wright, before Joel brought up that shit, I was gonna say mine was Carlos Beltran.
That's fire. My dad would be upset at me if I didn't mention Carlos Beltran because what he was doing before the Mets, where he was great on the Mets, what he did on Houston in their playoff run, and what he did with Kansas City.
That's where I know him from. As a White Sox fan, we didn't have TV like now where you can watch everything. You just had to watch your local team. And Carlos Beltran was a dog.
He killed.
And then they traded him to Houston, and then they was on the play, and he was going crazy in the play.
He was amazing in that postseason run. And then I think they made it to the World Series,
Yes,
if I'm
they
not
did.
mistaken. They lost to
That was the Cardinals.
no, because that's when Houston was in the NL.
Oh, you're right.
Damn, who did they?
Because they had
play?
Jeff Bagwell, Craig Biggio,
Yep.
Roy Oswalt,
Was Kent on that team?
Jeff Kent was second
Yep.
base.
Yep.
They had Adam Everett, I believe, at third.
I don't know if Clemens was on that team at that time.
Yes, no, it was.
Was
It was
he?
Andy Pettit and
Yep.
and
And
Roger
Clemens.
Clemens. Yes.
He was on that team. too?
Yeah, he was. He left us and came back.
Who did they lose to?
I'm blanking, man. It wasn't the Angels. It wasn't the
No.
Angels.
No,
It wasn't the Tigers because the Tigers played against
that
the
was
Cardinals.
way before the
Because that's when the
Tigers.
Cardinals beat the Tigers.
They
Who
lost
was it?
to.
It wasn't the Red Sox.
No, they didn't go to the World Series.
The
They
Red Sox
lost to Jim Edmonds and the Cardinals. Pujols.
was that 07?
And they
I think it
And,
was the Red Sox, P.
let's.
If that's
it's-
07, we
it's
can
nothing
hit
for me to
Google
Google.
search.
So let me see. Astros.
The
NL
Clippers
World
about to drop 3 straight with Harden. They face the Mavericks tonight.
I didn't great.
It's not great.
What could have
Dropping
been?
3 straight.
Got OG up here last week saying, "What if it?"
My dumb ass, Drew. They lost to the fucking White Sox.
Yes, bro. I forgot about that, man. How fucking funny is that? That's hilarious.
White Sox fan, and I'm so deep into Carlos Beltran. Yeah, they
Got the
lost.
Scott Pasednik in the background too.
Yes.
That's dumb
Yes, Scotty
funny.
Pies in the back. Damn, that's
That's
hilarious.
hilarious.
That's hilarious. People gonna watch this like, what a jackass.
But that was
Oh,
great
man.
baseball. That's when the Braves and Houston were going at it, man. That was great baseball.
Oh man.
That's hilarious.
Yep.
All right, let's get
Jermaine
back to
died, World
basketball. I'm
Series
sorry,
MVP.
y'all. We're done. Jermaine died. That's a fact. What
It's
do you play?
about fucking time, man.
Basketball again?
Yeah, let's, you know what I'm saying?
Don't
Let's
sound
get-
like a loser.
Let's get back.
Jermaine died. What
Don't
was he?
sound like
Second
a
base?
Jesus.
No, right field.
Right field. Who am I thinking of?
This is after. This is crazy, bro. This make me go back and really appreciate this championship. We beat a team that had Roger Clemens, Roy Oswalt, Andy Pettit, Chad Quarles was the closer, Wandy Rodriguez. Holy shit, this team was stacked.
They were stacked.
This
And
team was
Beltran
stacked.
was
We
one of
had
the
Mark
best hitters in the
Burley.
game.
Yes, and they had Brad Osmus, Jeff Bagwell, Lance Berkman, Craig Biggio.
Forgot about Berkman.
Oh man, Jason Lane.
Never.
That's one of those
I
guys
would have
that
told you.
kind of got to remember.
Hold on. We mushing our times together. That's why I didn't remember that. Beltran not on this team.
He was on the 07 team.
Yeah, he's not on this team because if they had him, we would have lost. We would have lost.
Yeah, what year
Yeah,
I'm thinking of. Maybe that was the year that they lost to the Cardinals.
He was
or
on there the
something.
year before.
The Arrow of Life commented, Dye played with the A's.
And
Who?
Jermaine
Jermaine
Dye
Dye.
played for the A's before he came to the White Sox. Absolutely correct. And
Y'all had Frank Thomas on that team, didn't you?
old Frank Thomas. Yes, the year they had Beltran, that's the special thing about Beltran. He got traded with Houston and he didn't stay. He had
He got traded
90
mid-season?
games with them. Yep. From Kansas City, 90 games with them and went into the playoffs and carried their ass. And they lost, like I said, to the Cardinals. I'll never forget that series. Jim Edmonds, Scotty
Stack.
Rowland, Pujols, Tony Womack.
They
Good
were
times,
stacked,
man.
bro, for
That's
real.
when baseball, I wouldn't miss it the same way like basketball. I would not miss that shit for nothing. But yeah, let's get back to basketball because y'all are getting me started in here, man. Carlos Beltran.
Now you just got me to a bag I haven't gotten to in a minute. I haven't talked about baseball like that in such
Shout
a
out to your pops. He a real one because
Yeah.
he like Carlos Beltran. Carlos
Definitely.
Beltran
Hey,
is
it's
that
the Puerto
guy.
Rican. He's one of the pride and joys of Puerto Rico when it comes to baseball. Have to.
Are the Rockets actually good this year? 4-3. They're off to a pretty surprising start. Top 10 offense and defense, one of 4 teams. And some of these signings are better than people expected. You know, Dylan Brooks is actually like a veteran leader for this team. He's shooting an unsustainable 52% from 3, which is probably going to fall off, but he's been awesome for them thus far. And Van Vliet, 16 and 8, not the greatest splits. Do you think the Rockets are actually good though, and they can maybe make a kind of a push to be a team that at least is in the play-in picture until like the midpoint way of the season?
Gotta talk to me, Riv.
It's your guys.
Eamon's not playing.
I was gonna say Eamon's not here. Have you been watching Rockets?
No, I watched them. I watched them 2 times against the Kings. It's definitely a different team from when they first played the first couple games, and then the last 3-4 games. They definitely look a little bit more engaged. They look like they're figuring out their offense. Fred VanVleet looks like he's in control of this offense. He's like the pace he plays at, the way he's just being a leader. Same thing with Dylan Brooks. And Ime they look to have figured out how to move without the ball, how to just play together, play more in sync. And I guess it took them 3 games. You know, I don't want to harp on it too much because the Kings did not have De'Aaron Fox. But in reality, do you really need De'Aaron Fox to beat a Rockets team twice? Like, I think you should be able to split that at the very minimum. So I think for the Houston Rockets to go beat the Kings twice and then their most impressive win, beat the Lakers. You know, I think they have.
The Lakers.
Yeah,
They didn't beat them.
Are y'all serious?
No,
They whooped their ass.
That's all what it is.
That shit came out of nowhere. You know, that shit like came out of nowhere. But I
Stack
think
them up.
I don't
Y'all
know.
are back hitting on the Lakers, man. I didn't miss
I'll
this
be
shit.
honest, never
I
less.
didn't miss this shit. I didn't.
I don't know if this is sustainable. You know, I think the West is so janked up right now that teams are still trying to figure it out. Like the Lakers are 10th seed, the Clippers are 11th seed, or however flipped it was. You know, so like it's still a little bit janked up. I think it'll get more figured out. But if you're a Rockets fan, you have to love the way they're playing right now. Last year they were abysmal. The year before that they were abysmal. Just the different energy that they're playing with. That's, as a Rockets fan, you just want to see this team play with a heart, play together, play with continuity, and just be competitive every night. You're not looking for a playoff. In my opinion, you shouldn't be looking for a playoff berth. You shouldn't be looking for a fight to 1 seed. No, you just want to compete with the top teams, sneak in some ass whoopings like against the Lakers, sneak in some good wins against the Kings. That's what you want to see out of this season because you have Jalen Green. You just sent Cam Whitmore to the G League. You got Sengun. You got Jabari. You got a lot of young players mixed in with these veterans, and you gave these veterans some good money. But you also want to see, like, Amen just got hurt. You want to see these young players develop into these top players so then you can make that push. But right now, you just want to see this team compete, and that's what they're doing to start.
They are good.
Yes. Keep going, P.
They are good. We start the first episode that before the season started, we were asking what teams are we claiming, and I made a joke. I was like, well, we on some Riv shit that outside of our own teams, and the Rockets are the team that I claim.
Was that the last time you were here, Pierre? Or was that on
That was on Through the Wire.
Through the Wire? That's funny.
I'm on Through
And
the
I had to
Wire.
throw that in there, man.
Okay.
We was on some real shit. But
I'm on my Riv shit. That's when you know you're making a stand, bro.
Yeah.
they're good for now. I'm a little concerned with a couple things. Like Riv mentioned, they wins are against teams that you just kind of like whatever with. The Lakers, that loss, the Magic loss, you got to kind of look at the Lakers. But you know it's a timing thing with the Lakers. They'll get it together. I like when they play through Sengun. When they play through Sengun, they're a good team. When they're trying to force the issue, which I don't want to accuse them of now because they might have only did that the first 3 games, of force the issue of trying to make like Jalen and Jabari be those guys, they didn't really look too good. But I think when you play through Sengun, it opens up so much more. Like Riv said, they play without the basketball, which I think makes them a lot dangerous of a team. He can catch the ball at the elbow. He can play on the perimeter, dribble handoffs. He can pick and roll when he's rolling and defense collapse. He's able to kick out passes. That's what Jabari is at his best, catching, shooting, and making tough shots. And then Jalen Green can get his easy buckets to get him flowing. So they are a good team. I guess my only thing is, what is a good team? Because I think this team could be 12th, 13th in the West. And I'll take that. You know what I mean? It took a step up. I'm like Riv. I'm not really counting on a playoff berth for the Rockets because I think that's too rich, too early in a stacked West. But if they can be better than they were last year and take a step, I like that for them.
Yeah, it feels like a process over results type of team, where, like you guys mentioned, you're not expecting to play in berth, not expecting to playoff berth or anything like that. But at the end of this year, going into next season, we want to say the Rockets can make the play-in, right? The Rockets could have like maybe an OKC jump of last year where they have all of this young talent. Them specifically, unlike the Thunder, they have a couple of guys top of the roster who are veterans who have some playoff experience and whatnot. But this Rockets team, it's still super young. I know I made some jokes about Ime, how Celtic merchant, but he's a great coach. You knew the defense. Merchant. You knew the defense. That's what he brings. But like you mentioned, Rib, the fact that they are like a cohesive offensive unit, as you said too, Joel, top 10 in offense, top 10 in defense, regardless of opponents. This is a Rockets team that every matchup they're going against, regardless of De'Aaron Fox is out, Anthony Davis is out. I don't care about who's out for the opposing team. You want the Rockets to play good basketball on both sides, because what we've seen these last couple of years has been some ugly basketball, and they have this collection of talent, a good mix of younger and older players. And now they have the head coach there. I'm just looking for this Rockets team to be able to play consistently. I think people kind of jump to, we want to see a Jalen Green breakout. We want to see a Sengun breakout. I just want to see these guys be able to play together and play consistent basketball for longer than a week or two. Are they going to be top 10 offense, top 10 defense for the rest of the season? It seems very unlikely. But they're stepping stones in the NBA, right? And the Rockets are a complete rebuilding team. They have the pieces now. And really the only reason they spent that money in the offseason is because they had to spend the money. They were so far under the cap that they didn't have the luxury of saying, we're just going to save this cap space for the next offseason, the one coming after, once our young guys develop. They had to spend the money. If not, they would be under, the tax apron or whatever you would call it. They had to go out there and spend the money. They brought in Fred, brought in Dillon Brooks. Dillon Brooks still doing his antics against LeBron James, but I think there was probably too far of a sway one way with Dillon Brooks, where he gives you a lot of that unnecessary, kind of bullshit, more or less, in a bad way to put it. But he's a good basketball player, right? He can defend. He's not going to be hitting 50% of threes, but he can shoot. So I think it was, even though at the time it was a bit of an overpay, if you look at it, I mean, what did he get? 20 mil a year, right? For the 4 years, 80 mil, I believe that was the contract.
That's a pretty solid contract for him.
Yeah, for the NBA, like we look at 80 mil, like, God damn, that's a lot of money, but that's role player top money. Like that's top role player, 20 million. That's what I'm looking at for Dillon Brooks. Fred VanVleet bringing in some veteran experience there too. I like this Rockets team. I really do. I just don't want people to get too ahead of themselves. I don't want people to expect anything that isn't going to happen with this Rockets team, because coming into the season, we all had them, right? 12, 13, 14 seed. And now that they got a couple of wins, a big time win against the Lakers and LeBron James, big wins against the Kings, who were just the top seed last season, people are getting just a little bit too far ahead. But if you're a Rockets fan, like you said, Riv, you have to be very happy with the progress they made just 7-8 games into the season.
Yeah, and I think, sorry, before y'all go, I just think people jump the gun too much. Like I understand guys coming in year 3, year 4, you expect, all right, time to break out.
And hey, Sengun's look phenomenal. I don't want to get like, he might have that breakout.
But it's great. Like, they got a new coach. They brought in a bunch of players from free agency. I know people are expecting for Jalen Green and Jabari Smith to make that extra hyper leap, and they seen Sengun doing it. But these things take time, especially when you have a new team. You have a new direction. You're building a new culture in the building. All this stuff takes time.
I mean, it's about finding identity for the Rockets. You're bringing Ime Udoka. You're bringing a new culture. The reason why they didn't sign James Harden is because they wanted their young players to grow. So, they signed a VanVleet, Dillon Brooks, people that are going to establish an identity of playing defense. And this year was really the year that the Rockets have to find who's going to be leading this franchise going forward, who's going to be that star player for them. And as of right now, I think you can even go back to last year and kind of project this to happen. But Alperen Sengun is the Rockets' best player, and it's kind of pretty easy that he is their best player. Last year, Steven Silas didn't play through him much, but in the games where he was being played through, he was phenomenal. And I'm looking at this year, they beat the Kings twice. Fox didn't play, but the matchup I was looking forward to was Şengün versus Sabonis, because last year Sabonis had his way in that matchup. This year Şengün had his way in that matchup, and I'm looking at that moment as a moment of growth for him, going up against a top 5 center, holding his own and being better. Şengün right now is breaking out. Like Jalen Green was the highly touted prospect. He's playing well in his own right.
He is playing.
He's efficient this year. He's averaging close to 20 points per game, shooting 45% from 3. But what Şengün is doing is awesome. And it's my favorite archetype of player that I love to watch. Jokic, Sabonis, Şengün. Alperen Şengün's averaging 18.
Makes you sick, Riff?
8.
No, I don't know why he laughed.
And 6.6 assists per game.
What happened?
I don't know.
No.
Riff's just a bad guy. That's why I feel like you've seen that.
Yeah,
You're
it was
like,
just
Sabonis?
quick. Yeah, it was quick to put it on me. But
Per 36, 21, 10, and 8. And you can even ask Riv, dating back to the draft, I was very high on Alperen Şengün.
You have been. No, you've been on him for a while.
I was somebody that I love the way he played.
No.
Because it's one thing to be a center who you have some finesse, you have some post game, you can rebound the ball. It's another thing to be somebody that can actually be fixture in the offense. You can be an engine, you can run an offense. And that's what Şengün can do. He's playmaking for everybody. His defense has been surprisingly good. Some of it is luck, because with this stat, the Rockets have a 102 defensive rating with Şengün on the court, 114 with him off. Their net rating is much worse with Şengün off. And a lot of that, the defense specifically, could be drawn up to luck, because I don't think Şengün is an elite defender, but I think he's starting to understand positioning, and that's making him a better defender. Şengün is this team's best player, and the more they just lean on him to be the guy offensively, I think they're going to yield amazing results, because I think he's that good. And he is somebody that very soon, in a year or two, we're going to be talking about as a top 5 center in basketball, pretty stamped.
When it comes to talking about the Rockets right now, it's hard not to just reiterate everything that you guys are saying. I don't know if this is sustainable. We saw last season or last couple of seasons where we've seen teams like the Wizards start off hot, or Utah start off hot, and then they get back to their expectation down the stretch of the season. Right now, I feel similarly with the Rockets, where, again, you will take, like you said, process over results. And I think that that's perfectly said, because these young guys are playing very well. I think Jabari definitely has another level that I think that people were anticipating that he can get to. Hasn't played bad basketball as a whole, but again, a little bit inconsistent. You want to get him back up there. Let me not say back. You want to see him be more consistent. Simple as that. Now, again, I think that it's a little bit too early to judge whether they're good or not. But in the grand scheme of things, you like where this is progressing to. You like that Şengün has continued to get better year in, year out, where we've already known that he's a very good playmaker in his own right. Really, you use the word engine. I think that's a perfect word to use with Şengün. We're seeing Jalen Green be more efficient so far this season, where he's shooting an amazing clip from 3, but around the same from the field. 46% still very, very good when you're taking the amount of shots that Jalen Green is taking. I think that you look at this team as a whole, you like where it's headed to. Understand that Amen hasn't even been a part for the ride. Tari Eason has only played 1 game this season so far as well. And I like the young guys with the Houston Rockets. But again, are they good? I think they can be good long term. But as of right now, it's still one of those that they need to prove it. It's way too early for me to be all bought in that we could be talking about a playoff play-in team with the Rockets. I simply think the West is way too stacked, way too talented for that to be the case.
Yeah, you want them to be a year away from being a year away.
Correct.
And we've seen players that like Joker, offensive engine, probably best offensive engine in basketball, and then we've seen Sabonis, kind of similar game, they're a top offense. Winston Şengün, pardon me. The key for me is, and I think like as great as Şengün can be, as great as he is, I think the key is having that next guy, because even the Joker, as great as he is, Jamal's his sidekick. He also elevates. Sabonis, as great as Sabonis is, Fox has looked like more as the main guy, but he also elevates. So for Şengün, like, he needs that guy to elevate, and it has to be like Jalen Green. He needs that other guy that can play off him, a guy that can get him going, same vice versa. If he can get that guy, and if Jalen Green can be that guy, defensively, they're always going to have the issue. I don't think Şengün is ever going to be that type of defender. He can give effort for sure, but I just don't think he has the body type or the IQ to ever be an elite rim protector. But for the most part, if they can just get those two guys going, and we can see that they have pretty much this offseason established what they want to do in terms of role players what they want to do in terms of culture. When they want to bring toughness, they want to bring that grit, they want to bring that energy, and they want to bring guys who, bring a different type of tenacity to the office. So if they got that, you bring that to the office. Now you got these guys inspiring the young players. Just how you going to figure out? Because you still got Cam Whitmore in G League. Eamon, he's hurt. He's going to come back soon.
Minutes.
So how are you going to – Tyree Easton also is another one. So how are you going to figure out now? Because you got Jalen Green, who I think is established two guard. Sengun is established as a center. What are you going to do?
Fred's locked up for how many years?
He's two. Yeah, two.
Okay.
So what are you going to do with Jabari, Tari Eason, Cam, Eamon? All with extreme potential, all talented players.
It's a way it works out because Fred VanVleet isn't on a very long-term contract.
I think that works for Eamon, but those are 3 front court players: Jabari, Tari, Jabari, Eason, and then
Tari Eason doesn't start right now, so he's not going to be a starter. So you have Sengun, Jabari, and then it's Jalen Green, and now Amin and Cam Whitmore have to figure themselves out.
I'm tweaking.
Exactly.
Did Tari start last season?
No. Some games he did. He primarily.
I know now that Dylan obviously is on the squad. Dylan's getting a majority of the
Tari's like a 3-4.
Kenyon Moran Jr. started a lot of games for them last year.
Got it.
Hate that.
They like Jayshawn Tate a lot too.
I think the thing about the
That's
Rockets, and I think this also goes hand in hand with fascination with the young prospects, is that these teams draft these young players, and then we automatically assume that they should supplant veteran players on the team, or there shouldn't be a structure or a competition. It's like, okay, Amen Thompson is the 4th overall pick. This guy's ready to lead the franchise. He got to be starting day one. He got to be, our star. Why? You signed Fred VanVleet.
Oh, you took him 4th.
So you took him 4th,
same thing with Brandon Miller, though.
It's a long-term pick. He's only 19.
You got to find the minutes, though. You don't
Fred
have to
VanVleet
start,
starts. Fred VanVleet runs the point guard position. Amen learns from Fred. Then when it's Amen's time in 2 years, you now take the keys and you use that experience to now use it when you're starting. So
Joel cooking.
It's good that these players are having structure. It's not just an AAU basketball team. We're going to have a starting lineup of 19-year-olds, all 5 of them just starting, and they're going to figure it out. You need to have players like Fred and Dylan Brooks in that lineup, and that helps everybody else grow. And when Amen is ready or Cam Whitmore is ready, whoever is going to be, they're going to step up. But at the end of the day, they all got to earn it. Can't just give it to them. And I feel like a lot of the times teams give these opportunities to young players, and sometimes they're not ready for it, and then they flame out, and it's because they weren't ready.
It's like, I think people look at the Thunder, and they don't have that many veteran players by any means, unless you want to consider SGA a vet. But
their vet is probably like Kenrich Williams
or Lou Dortz, right? Like, if that's the case. But even still, I think you look at that squad who's been primarily put together through the draft outside of an SGA, and you see all these young guys come together, and them obviously progressing the way that they have. It allows the fan to think, oh, maybe the Rockets will also fall into that process. I'm with you, Joel. You bring in Fred. You need some veteran leadership.
Objection.
Talk to me.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is extremely good. The Rockets don't have a player that good.
They don't.
Secondly, a lot of guys in OKC have suffered. It just don't get talked about because they have Shai.
Trey Mann.
Now they have Chet. Where's Trey Mann? Yeah, people love Poku. There was just like, what could Poku be? Where is he?
But those are projects.
That's what I'm saying. SGA, Dub, Jalen.
Okay,
Williams.
they're projects. What is Josh Giddey doing for you right now?
Agreed.
No, I'm with you.
Agreed. But J-Dub was
came
last season, has been really good so far this year. Jalen Williams is one of those guys that I would love on the Lakers in terms of he's just one of those guys. Every team would love it. Jalen Williams does the dirty work. Takes charges. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, hey, if I'm a Warriors fan, Jalen Williams, one of those guys I want on my team. He does the dirty work for my squad.
You want everybody.
I do. But that's obviously not the point. My point being is you got these young guys on the squad, and you're right. There have been some misses, but you see they've hit in late lottery with a J-Dub. Jalen Williams is another one. So for that to be the case, and you obviously see
Joe too. That was a good move.
That's true. But
that's a Sixers fumble more than a Thunder.
True. Sixers were.
I mean, I get both sides. I get they got to earn it, but I also understand I would like to play them and see what they are. Like sometimes,
But they are playing. The only person that ain't played is Cam Whitmore.
No, I'm saying
everybody else that you named played.
I'm just speaking generally. Like I understand that, but like you do need that veteran. You do need that veteran presence for some players, you know. But what they got to figure out is how are they? Because like even when in the beginning of the season, it was only like 3 games when they were playing Fred and Aim, and it was weird because you don't, as a rookie, you don't get those same opportunities to kind of show yourself.
Mhm.
So you kind of trying to figure it out your way. But Ime has like. I think they're gonna be fine.
So you got to trust him.
Yeah, you got to just trust the coach, trust the process. So I think Houston will be okay.
I
It's
trust
just
what he's
about-
doing.
Yeah,
I
it's just
love what
about
he
how
doing.
long it's gonna take for these players to get better. Because Houston, realistically, they don't gotta like. We're not saying figure it out, but we kind of saying figure it out.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Because eventually you got to pay Sengun, you got to pay Jalen Green, and like a year or two, we kind of think like, okay, like this has been like a 5-year process.
Mhm.
So
I feel like for the most part, if you're good, you're going to figure out a way. There are definitely some situations out there where you're just not awarded the opportunity. But you think about a player like Jaylen Brown with the Celtics. When he was as a rookie, he really didn't play that much. His second year, a lot of the players got injured. He had to step up. Then those players came back and his role got reduced even more. And it really didn't get him. He didn't get going until like his 4th year in the league, but he got
And
going.
they were patient with him too,
know,
because it wasn't like
they
he was
didn't
showing
need
a
him to
big
play.
step of flashes.
A team I should have said instead of OKC would be the Orlando Magic, where a majority of these guys are young guys that they drafted. And now where we're looking at this Orlando Magic team that has been pretty solid to start the year off. Jalen Suggs, what is he going into? This is year 3, year 4, one of the two.
Year 3.
Franz
Year 3.
Wagner, another one, year 3. Paulo Banchero, year 2. Anthony Black, Jet Howard.
They're
These are
not
all-
playing
They're starting
No,
Kel.
Anthony Black getting minutes. Jet, of course, isn't.
because of injury though. But they
Markel
at full
definitely
health, they
has-
were not playing because they have a coach in Jamal Mosley who's not throwing guys into the fire. But they played, and now they're gonna ease into. And now Anthony Black is probably going to get more minutes because he took advantage of a situation that was afforded to him. The NBA fan is too impatient, man. NBA
Agreed.
fans think that everything is like instant gratification, and I love the Jaylen Brown mention because that was phenomenal. That's player development, in my opinion. Everybody isn't going to be on the same wave of trajectory where you throw them in. Some players can handle that. Some players can't. I just think there's been too many recipes of success to like overreact because a 19-year-old player wasn't given the keys or isn't shooting I think that sometimes can be detrimental. A player being thrown in and that's the same thing as an NFL quarterback. Some quarterbacks can be CJ and come in right away with the Texans. Some quarterbacks, they are better off sitting behind a veteran for the first year and a half, maybe.
But like a Jalen Suggs, he struggled his rookie and sophomore year until late in the year where he showed some things. And even this year, he hasn't been the most consistent, but the last we saw him, of course, was it last night where he had 6 steals, had over 20 points. We allowed, or let me say the Orlando Magic allowed him the time where you are a young guy. We did use a high draft pick on you. Also, it's due to necessity. We need you to play as well. But they've allowed him that growing pains, and you understand that he's important to the Magic's success or future success because of how much he means on the defensive side of the ball. And they need shooting. And Jalen can progress in shooting as well. But again, that's what I'm saying, where in the Magic situation, it's been more necessity, but we're seeing it kind of benefit them this season so far, of course.
We're going to draft a ton of young players right now.
Here we go.
ESPN just
Brandon, is this
released
your dream?
a 25
Is this your dream?
and under list. We're not
Nuts.
going to react to this list. We're just going to draft
I
players
should have
from
kept that
this
tweet
list
up of you.
that are 25 and under. You deleted the tweet? Oh, man. That was nuts, though.
A little bit.
So, man, listen, he's this guy, man.
Let's get into it. How we rock?
So we have to give the first pick to somebody.
I mean, we do have a guest on the show.
He's not a guest.
All right,
Not a guest.
Fuck him. All right.
Listen. I'm fortunate enough to have a computer in front of me. I can easily go to a website called We'll Decide, and I could put all of our names in there really, really quick, and we can
Let's do
just
it.
roll the wheel. So, because I don't like to be given a first round pick. I like to earn it. So I'll put y'all seat in order. Let's go Riv first.
Rivio. Type that in, man.
So Joel,
So
Joel.
it's gonna be whoever is first gets the first pick. Whoever second gets the
It's
second.
up to y'all. We can do first is first pick or first is last pick. Y'all just let me know.
Plus log in.
Don't.
You want me to just send you the names?
Dude would love that.
Okay. I got you.
How we doing it? Is the first? I ain't
Who's
clicking yet.
first, we'll tweet it out.
Listen, if you get your name called first, you got the first pick.
Easy enough.
But weird shit
Okay.
I
is
sent you guys the draft board of players that were on
So
the
the first
ESPN
pick-
25.
This was fucked up. I got to redo it.
You put
It was
Joel
him.
and Joel.
No,
probably.
no.
I put
Pierre.
Joel and
Yeah,
Joel.
I already knew. He's like Joel. I was like, this.
Oh,
Wait,
that
so
was
are
stupid.
we only drafting people on the top 25 list, or could we go?
You could go
That's
out.
a
and
great.
get your-
Please tell me. Yeah.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
can draft anybody. Okay.
Yes.
Anyone on 25?
Okay. So now
That's
I got
good. Now I can draft Herb Jones.
the first pick is Riv.
Okay. Who's the second pick?
The second pick, we got to keep spinning every round. Wait, they won't let me do
Kaminga.
so
Number one?
Don't tell me.
It's gonna be on this list for another 5 years, bro.
Nah, facts. Damn, yeah, he sure is.
So SGA is not on this list.
the
I'm
second
assuming.
pick is Joel.
He's 26.
Okay, nice. I got the second pick.
What they got going on here?
The third pick is Joel.
Okay, are we just gonna
It's
go
under
down the road?
25, so not 25 and
Oh,
under.
okay, I
Yeah,
see,
because
I see.
Tatum's not on the list.
Between me and you, Drew, what
know
we
he would-
doing, man?
He would
Talk to
Tatum
me.
would have been up there. You
It's-
already know.
I get the last pick. It's Drew.
I can do last. I can be last. It's cool.
You're gonna get the first pick of snake draft.
That's fine.
Y'all don't
You
want to
want
just do. Y'all just don't want to do how the tape. The
I
table.
get the
was-
first pick of the second round. He before me.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. I'll be
Okay,
second
so
to
it's
last.
Riv, me,
It's
then
the order of the
who has the
table.
third pick?
Joel. It's literally the
Dehls?
order of the
Yeah, I
table.
was saying it's order of the table.
Oh, I didn't even peep. It is the order of the table. Damn.
That's all right. That's funny. Random said it's going to be the order of the table. What are you going to do?
Okay, I gotta add some more players to my draft board, man. Anthony Simons got to be there. You know what I'm saying?
Let's just draft it, bro.
Anthony Simons. Maybe I might think about Grant Will here.
All right, Riv.
Grant
First on the clock.
25,
Hit my music.
right? Am I tweaking? Grant was like 27.
No, he's
26.
24.
He's 24.
Yeah.
Who?
No
Grant
fucking way.
Will.
Grant's 24.
That
What
man.
the fuck? I could have sworn he would. I would have guessed at least 26.
My
Wouldn't
phone.
He's 24. Yeah, he's 24. All right, so 25 and under draft in honor of the list that ESPN did. We are going to draft our own players under 25. 5 teams: Riv, me, Dehls, Drew, Pierre's team. First pick. Riv.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Are we making our teams a team? Or we
team.
just, man, I got Walker Kessler, Evan Mobley.
We're making our team a team.
We're starting
Okay.
5.
My
Starting
guys.
5.
I'm
I
This
wanna
is,
draft
this
more
is a
talented
ball
guys.
nowhere
Yeah,
draft.
come on, bro.
Fine.
With the first pick, Riv, you're up.
This is so tough for me, man. I could go Garland. I could go Jonathan Kuminga. You know, I could go Evan Mobley.
You can go Patrick
You
Williams.
go Moses Moody.
Patrick Williams is not on my mock.
Mm.
But inevitably, I got to go Luka Doncic, man. He's the best player on this list by far. So give me Luka to start my team, man. Easiest pick of the draft.
You're a smart man. I thought Luka was going to fall to me with the second overall
Oh, you thought I'd
pick.
take Ant-Man?
You might have,
I would've took Wemby
it
before
was-
I was going to say
man.
Wemby.
That's disrespectful.
It's
You know what? I'm taking Anthony Edwards with the second overall pick like he should be.
Gonna fail.
Watch my team.
Cool. I'm watching. Luka at the 1, baby. It's lit.
So is just Riv get the music?
wow.
Oh, you want the music for
Nah,
Why
every
do you
single
want to
pick?
share
Oh,
everything?
okay,
We've
we're
been
good.
sharing shit for centuries.
The music, the pick is
I got the third pick. I'll be taking Wemby.
all right. Fair enough. Understood. I got the fourth pick. I'm between Halliburton and Morant.
Right.
Ja has been amazing. I'm going with Ja.
Ja Wizzy.
I hook P up too because I know he wants his boy Reese.
No. I'm trying to get Wemby off of my board. All right, so Wemby's off my board. Let me get Chet.
Nice pick.
I'm gonna take Chet Holmgren because we gotta go against.
Got back to me.
I hate to hear that.
We got.
Would
We
love
got.
I
Chet.
thought Chet was gonna last in the second round, but it's okay. Somebody else is there. I ain't worried.
And I'm gonna also take Evan Mobley.
Okay.
You're going with the defensive first front court. I like it.
Okay. No Chet. No Mobley.
You took Ja?
I did take Ja. I could finesse Halliburton. I'm shocked.
I don't need a point guard.
I think that Ja could play my 2.
You got to draft with intelligence.
I am. I mean, Ja Moran.
No, I'm just saying because it's so many guards that I didn't have to rush to take Reese. y'all can't draft all guards, so they'll
I'm
be
thinking
there.
about it. I'm
You
about
gotta
to.
know what's thin in the draft.
All right, listen, perfect. Because I know that Tyrese Halliburton doesn't need the ball to thrive in this league. I'm going Tyrese as my selection.
Who is your team right now?
I have Halliburton and Ja.
You have what?
I said what I said.
Yeah, go. He can't flip. He can't flip.
So
I'm
this
happy
is-
with this. I'm not flipping.
We're assuming everyone.
Luka's gonna
of course,
dominate him.
Of course, we're assuming everyone's healthy, right?
Yeah.
No, Zion comes with his baggage.
Give me Zion, man. Zion playing the 4.
Who you got, Joel?
Zion and Wemby for Dehls. Now this is tricky because Pierre made a great point about how this draft isn't very center heavy. He took 2 of the best ones off the board in Chet and Evan Mobley already. So now I'm scattering to get
This guy's ruined.
maybe
This guy's
a
letting
big
another man influence his thought process.
By the way. Get a guard, bro.
That's why I took Halliburton. I'm like, the fuck are we doing here?
Do your thing, bro.
You know what? I'm gonna go a guard here because I need somebody who can facilitate my offense and also shoot the 3 at an elite
Tyrese
level.
Maxey.
I'm going with Darius Garland.
Oh,
Luka's gonna burn him.
Luka's burning everyone, bro.
Your lineup sucks.
Why?
You have
it
Tyrese
does.
Morant.
Oh yeah, they really suck. Yuck, I'm so angry.
Since I have one of the worst ISO defenders in the league, he gonna need some help. Give me Jaren Jackson.
Okay.
Great pick.
I want Jaren Jackson.
Yeah, even though he doesn't care about effort, but it's cool.
no, he blocks shots. And then let me. You picked Shet and Mobley. That fucked me. But there's another young center I can get later. Who do I want? I'm gonna go Ben Caro.
Paulo.
Good selection.
That's a
I'm gonna
great
go
pick.
Paulo and Jaren. That's gonna be my bigs down low.
Oh, Jaren at the 5.
Yeah, it's food.
He has Evan Mobley at the 5. I'm so
Fool.
good.
I'm dead.
Chet is my 5.
Fuck.
All right, Joel.
You're up.
Okay, so this becomes a little bit tougher. I was looking at Jaren Jackson Jr. I need a big man, so I'm gonna go with a guy who I think is baby Dwight Howard. I'm going with Jalen Duren here.
Great pick.
Good put.
Remember him
Good
after
pick,
that
boy.
day.
Okay. So I got Wemby and Zion. Definitely need some help on the perimeter. This is why I took my bigs. I got my bigs out the way. There's not a ton of those, so I got a plethora of options.
You got
You mean we
All
did
right.
good. Look at us.
There's so many options here that I love.
You love Scotty here.
I know if he falls, this guy over here is probably going to take him.
Mind you, this is the new
he
Scotty
just plotted,
right now.
so I didn't get Scotty. By
I'm
the way.
I'm
He just plotted
pass
crazy.
on Scotty. I'm gonna take a guard.
Yeah,
here.
we just got our
There's-
Luka stopper.
There's 2 I really want. My first pick, I'm gonna take Maxey here. I'm believing in the breakout. Give me some more athleticism, some 3-point shooting, some playmaking.
I like that pick, man.
Yeah, that
Tatum
is
is
good.
25.
He's 25. This is under 25 though.
Correct.
'Cause you know Tatum would be
25,
low.
under 25. That was the list. That's the name.
Bad.
Lock it in. Scotty Barnes. Not a hesitation. Because he already has his big solidified. He's gonna go guard regardless. I need Scotty.
My next pick is Jaden McDaniels. We just gonna lock motherfuckers up. Jaden
Or say,
McDaniels.
fuck offense. Nah, Chet can get to his, but still, yeah, your offense is mid.
And then we're going to take Cade Cunningham.
It's a good
Hmm.
pick.
That was the
Ah,
other name
that
I was
my-
looking at.
I was thinking about
Fuck.
him too.
I was thinking him.
He's
and
building a
Maxey.
pretty great team right here.
Blazing him.
No, he is.
All right. So K's gone. LaMelo's still on the board. Unfortunately, I don't need a guard. Franz is still here. J-Dub's still here. You took Duren, which hurts. Sengun's still on the board. We do need defense. I already have enough offense. Walker Kessler. That's my selection.
Okay, I like that.
Not terrible.
I need a big. He's great.
This is tough here. So I got Maxey, Zion, and Wemby. I guess Maxey could really play the 1 or the 2 if I need him to.
Scotty's playing my power forward, by the way.
Still got LaMelo on here. Scoot. I'm gonna go some defense here. I'm gonna take J-Dub to play my 3.
I like that a lot.
He just fucked me.
That was a great pick, Dehls.
He fucked me.
I feel like we're like in silent library.
We're locked in, man.
Nah,
You know what? You took J-Dub, which is great because I'm taking Franz Wagner here.
That's a
he
good
fucked-
pick.
He fucked me too.
What'd you expect? If Franz would have made it back to you, that would have been insane. That'd have been lit for you.
I'm I'm pretty.
Who's your
set.
team so far?
Luka, Jaren, Boncaro.
Why
You
you
gotta go
laughing, B?
LaMelo. You have to go LaMelo.
That's a funny lineup.
Luka and LaMelo.
No, I don't have LaMelo.
I
No,
know
you're
he's
about
saying
to.
if he goes, oh,
You're about
that's
to.
food.
You kind of have no choice.
That's food.
Luka and Paolo.
Listen, shit gonna work. Pick and pop, pick
All
and
right,
roll.
take LaMelo.
Pick and pop.
You have to.
pick and pop, pick and pop, pick and roll. Nah, I need a fucking wing.
You do. Losing J-Dub and Franz back to back is
that's what
nuts.
fucked me.
Nuts.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna take LaMelo.
You hate that.
I do.
You hate that.
I don't have a.
You hate your team right now.
Oh, that team nasty.
I do hate my team. I fucked up. Fucked up. I'm gonna take LaMelo, and then my last pick. Fuck it, we just gonna go. We're gonna bring a shooter in. I'm gonna have to take Desmond Bain.
Is he eligible?
I didn't see him.
How old is he?
I don't think Desmond Bain is eligible.
25. You're cooked.
Get the fuck out of town. He's 25 already.
So the players
Bro,
that are left,
Josh Giddey's on the list.
I don't want him.
Jalen Green's on the list.
Oof, too small. Keep going.
Tyler Hero,
Too small.
Scoot, Keegan.
Small. Keegan Murray?
That could be
Fuck it. We're going.
that way. Yeah.
We're going.
That's a
Keegan
good
Murray.
pick. That's a good pick.
God
Keegan
damn it.
Murray.
Why do you guys try to change his mind?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why y'all speak
No,
up.
he
That's
wants
his fault if
Bain.
you don't know, but that's a
on.
good pick.
Yeah.
Desmond
Good
Bain,
pick.
25 already. He just got here.
Good pick, bro. So happy.
Shit sad,
He's
bro.
been here for a minute.
He's in year 4.
Say a word.
It's a word.
So was Ja.
It is.
Ja's a part of this list. I cooked.
Now it's my turn, and
So
this is my last pick. My team right now is Garland, Edwards, Wagner, and Duren. I want a floor spacer. I need one more.
Come bucket.
He's not a floor spacer, bro.
I'm about to cook right now.
You need a rim runner, bro.
I'm looking at players that are very young.
Young.
You know what? I'm going to take a swing pick here off the assumption that I think he will be a very good pro in the NBA. I'm going with Brandon Miller.
Okay.
Okay.
It's not a bad pick.
I'm going with someone who's not on this list. Wasn't on the top 25, but we said we could do our own. I need a 2 guard. I'm taking Shane Sharp.
Fuck.
Good fucking pick.
I
thought you
had
mentioned
him written down right here as my
pick.
2. I
Good
just knew
fucking
nobody's
pick.
gonna pick him. Damn.
Really thought you were
Damn.
gonna go Trey Murphy.
All right.
was
Small
a good
forward.
I
Asar
was gonna
Thompson.
walk out here with the greatest team ever. Damn.
Small forward. Asar Thompson.
What's your lineup?
I got because y'all were fucking going crazy that I had Hallie and Ja as my first 2 picks. I had to make sure I solidified the defensive side of things. We go with Sar, we go Scotty, we go Walker Kessler.
My last pick is gonna
I
be
want-
Tyler Hero.
It's a good pick.
Womp 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 womp.
Oh, you of all people can't make that noise. My team, fuck your team up.
Your team got no offense. You got
Abe
kid. You got
Cunningham,
kid. You
Tyler
safe
Hero?
face. You'd safe face Tyler Hero. Good basketball
Chet?
player. Good basketball player.
Good basketball player.
Evan Mobley, Jaden McDaniels. Yo, what's your 5? Your 5 is not fucking with that 5.
I got Halliburton, your favorite player in the league. I got John Morant, Asar Thompson, Scotty Barnes, breakout
Team
player
is
of the year.
ass.
Here.
Team is
And Walker Kessler.
Team is garbage. Fuck
We're
out of
locking
here.
you up. We're locking you up.
Garbage.
We're
That
locking you
team
up.
is garbage.
We're scoring at will. We're getting out
You're
in
not
transition.
scoring at
We're
all.
running.
You're not
Asar
scoring
is
at all.
locking every single player on your team up, unfortunately for you.
No. Too
'Cause
many
Asar
guys
who
need that
knows
ball in
Cade-
their hands.
Who knows Cade better than Asar right now? I don't think anybody.
Let's go round table and give your guys teams
That
out.
team is
Say
horrible.
your team out loud. Rev, we're going to start with you.
So I got LaMelo, Luka, backcourt, Keegan running the 3, Paolo at the 4, and I got Jaren just sitting at the 5. Hopefully it works.
I got Darius Garland, Anthony Edwards, Brandon Miller, Franz Wagner, and Jalen Duren.
I got Tyrese Maxey, Shaden Sharp, J-Dub, Zion, and Victor Wembanyama.
I like your team.
That
Dehls.
team's fire.
Only competition, man. I got Cade Cunningham, Tyler Hero, Jaden McDaniels, Evan Mobley, Chet. Only team I fear is that Zion team.
Yeah, that team's
here.
lit.
What you got, Drew?
Oh, I thought you guys already heard my squad.
You didn't
We
say
got
that.
Tyrese Halliburton. We got John Morant, Asar Thompson at the 3, Scotty Barnes at the 4, and Walker Kessler at the 5.
Fine. That's something. It's an interesting collection of players.
You picking 2 guards, 2 small guards was shocking.
I'm fine with it because, again, Asar Thompson, great defender, great
You can't guard
rebounder.
everybody.
No, he can't, but Scotty Barnes can guard essentially anybody. And Walker
You-
Kessler's holding it down low.
So we compact the paint because Asar is not the shooting threat. Walker Kessler, you have Scotty Barnes isn't.
Scotty can shoot.
He's not the catch.
He's shooting almost 40% from three. Respect him.
He's not catch.
Halliburton.
You were praying.
Halliburton got the ratchet on him, and John Moran can do essentially whatever he wants.
Nah,
that's essentially it.
Nah, P, I feel like you're being a little bit too disrespectful to my squad right here, though. Garland, Edwards, come on.
Love that backcourt. Franz Wagner at the 4 with Chet and Evan Mobley. He got Zion. Oh, hell no.
I got Jalen Duren, though.
Tell you what, man.
We ain't worried about. I love Jalen Duren, but he don't put no fear in our heart with that little ass power forward you got next to him.
You got it. You got it in the front court for sure. If Brandon Miller reaches his potential, he's a better player than McDaniels.
Evan Mobley and Jaden McDaniels can't score.
No, McDaniels can score. Respect.
Okay.
That front court ain't. That front court ain't that. That front court ain't that. I've seen Evan Mobley. Nah. Defensively, yeah. Offensively,
that's what you. Who drafts Evan Mobley to be their go-to guy? We have
your go-to guys, Cade and Tyler Hero.
Yeah, we have a good collective team.
We're took Evan Mobley in your first round, bro.
We're gonna be top 10 because of defense. You want to be able to anchor the defense, and we didn't have. Again, that's why you got to think. You don't have that many centers, man. That's why you ended up with.
I got Walker Kessler.
I'm good. I'll take the guys I get. Has Walker Kessler played more than 24 minutes this year?
Again,
okay. Don't talk to me. You got to know what you're talking about. That was
Walker
a horrible.
Kessler was amazing last year defensively. Early in the season, what did we get?
Yeah, and I got Chet, who's been just as amazing on both ends, by far better player than him offensively.
Chet Holmgren was your.
This is a competition for second place for me. I got guys that can create. I got 3-point shooters. I got.
We're not worried about that team. We just gotta get up for y'all. We just gotta look at y'all. We gotta actually get up to play y'all.
You got a great team.
Zion ain't gonna be available by the time we play.
We turn injuries off.
We sure didn't.
Turn injuries off.
Make it to that game, brother, man.
Pete, do you know how many minutes per game Kessler played last season? You're muted, bro.
You're muted, bucko.
Say that again.
You know how many minutes Kessler played last season?
Let's say 28.
Okay, so you said, is he playing 24 minutes this season, correct?
No, I said, has he played?
You asked me, has he played over 24 minutes this season?
I was just
curious. So his average is 24 minutes. Last year, he has more minutes this year than last year.
How many minutes is he playing this year?
23 minutes last year, 24 minutes this year.
So he hasn't played over 25 minutes a game.
Well, you said 24.
You did say
I'm
24.
on you.
You're fucked.
And you thought 28. You thought 28 last year
because I would hope that I was hoping that you were
played.
I was hoping that you were making something.
You got to know what you're talking about.
You do.
You got to know what you're talking about.
I was hoping you didn't know what you were talking about. You don't know.
That's why I'm letting it be known. Kessler obviously was great last year, and he still wasn't playing the crazy amount of minutes that apparently.
There's a reason. There's a reason. That's why you have to know.
Kessler's still a great defender, which is all I needed.
The key thing in life,
I needed defense.
You have to be able to listen and know before you speak, because then you say stupid shit like what you're doing.
Like what?
Stupid shit.
How
you don't want to. You don't want to get back and forth with me about basketball. The one thing I got confidence in about anything is basketball. You don't want to go.
You gotta have confidence whenever you're talking. Regardless,
you don't want to know about basketball. You don't want to go there. You drafted a guy. You drafted a center.
Great at defense is what I needed.
A center who can't play 25 minutes a game.
That is a great defensively. That's all I needed.
So we're going to get him out of the game.
Who? How?
He can't play more than 20.
What is Mobley? Is Mobley going to stretch the floor like that?
Is he guarding? Who is he guarding? Because Chet
he's going to have to guard either Scotty Barnes.
Sengun could be your backup big. I think that's the only one left.
And Sengun obviously would have
talked to him
about Sengun. But I needed defense. That's why I went Walker.
How old is Jared Allen?
I think he's 20.
I think he just turned 25.
You fucked.
No Sengun in the draft is tough, but they didn't fit
I needed defense. Sengun was definitely on my board. I needed defense.
Scotty Barnes, Walker Kessler.
Scotty Barnes has been amazing this season.
He has been in the role that he is playing with the Raptors. He's not playing that role with your team with John Moran and Tyrese Halliburton.
He could.
No.
He could.
No,
because Halliburton doesn't need the ball in his hands to succeed.
That's stupid thinking. Why would I not want Halliburton?
Of course, he's going to get the ball in his hands.
He's the engine of the number one offense in the league, and you don't want him to have the ball.
Still very, very.
What the hell sense does that make, Drew? Just let's.
I'm telling you the truth.
You're exposing some of your basketball thinking as far as being.
Why is that? Because he's a great 3-point shooter. Obviously, he's going to make the right pass regardless.
If I have the
John Moran is
the number one offense, I want him to have the basketball.
9 games through the season, he's been phenomenal.
So you're contradicting yourself.
How? I'm just saying. You're saying number one offense in basketball.
Listen, you're saying 9 games. You're amazing, Scotty Barnes. You're basing that off of
he was
just 9
rookie
games.
of the year also.
But obviously that was years ago. But now you're
2
saying
years.
9.
2 years.
That's years. That's years.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Technicality, 2 years ago is years.
Hey, listen, you try to play me on technicality, so I'm just throwing it right back at you.
My technicality was right. He hasn't played more than 25 minutes a game.
You said 24.
Okay, he hasn't played more than 24 minutes a game.
24.
It's 24 in the head.
My
point is, my centers play 30 minutes a night. Yours don't.
Yeah, due to necessity. Respect it.
Your team sucks. Respect that. But you're a Laker fan, so
throw it in the 2K sim, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
what
throw it
the
in
hell?
the 2K sim.
What was that stray? You're a Lakers fan, so
Yeah, you're a Knicks fan. All you've known is losing, right?
Oh, there it is. That was a layup.
Is that what you wanted?
No, I'm a Laker fan because I'm a Knicks fan because I'm Pierre. You jumped on Dick. It's a big difference. You're not from LA. Have you ever been to LA?
I haven't.
Please say you've been to LA. You haven't?
I haven't.
So you just woke up and jumped on a winning team. I'm a Knicks fan
LeBron
because
James
I don't have to jump
grew up watching.
Oh, that's even worse. You're following a man. You're
No one's surprised at that. That's fine.
You're jumping on a man. I don't have a. You know why I'm a Knicks fan? Because I
Okay.
wanted to play for them when I was a kid, not because of a man or because I've been to New York. I've been in the Garden. You know what I'm saying? There. You know, I had. You see that foam finger? That's from the Garden, man. I'm a real Knicks fan.
I got the same one. I got the same one actually.
You jumping on the Lakers because they got them banners. That ain't real.
That has nothing to do
You're
with
probably a Chiefs fan too. Oh no, you a Broncos fan
and you fucked up because you know me.
No,
you know me, and you
Broncos
thought
fan
I'm a
because you
Chiefs
jumped-
fan, and that's my least favorite team in the game.
Peyton Manning.
That's
you
my
jumped
guy.
on him too because they was winning.
I don't think you know that
man,
story. You don't
just
know
a
that
jumper.
story, P. That's fine with
Just a
me. You
jumper.
don't know that
Okay,
story.
how are you a Broncos fan?
So Peyton Manning, he was drafted in 98. Where's number 18? Born December 18th. I'm born 1998. Very calm for me.
So you was a Colts fan too.
I was. And then they cut him disrespectfully. I didn't like that.
Shout out
One of
to
the worst
Peyton Manning,
franchises
man.
in the game.
Shout out to Peyton Manning.
That's my goat.
Before we get out of here, a quick word from Mojo Fantasy. We're in love with Mojo Fantasy. It's a crazy new app that turns sportsbook odds and selections into fantasy contests. Here's how it works. There are thousands of NFL and MLB player props. You build a portfolio, and the better your portfolio performs, the more cash you win. Pick as many props as you want and try to beat the crowd. It's a whole new way to play fantasy. The props act like stocks, so you can buy and sell live all game long. It's the only fantasy app to let you make moves after the game starts, so you're not stuck with a bad pick. You can cash in on a hot start or just hang on and let them ride. That's it. Make picks, make moves, make money. Check it out on the Apple App Store now. They're coming to more states and adding more sports soon. And use code PAS for a 100% deposit match up to $100. And that's going to do it for episode.
No. That's not going to do it. Last thing I'll say, Mr. The Plug, Walker
You saying
Kessler.
something to me? Why are you
Yeah, I'm saying something to you because
I got you really thinking about that weak ass team.
No. Well,
You
I'm
hit
talking about
Googles.
Walker Kessler.
I
who
gotta
hasn't
hit.
played
I ain't
24
had to hit
minutes a
no
game.
Googles for none of my picks.
Okay, I didn't have to Google about Walker Kessler until you asked me about minutes per game.
You gotta start watching basketball as part of
Well,
the job.
listen,
brother.
against the Nuggets, played over 25 minutes per game, actually dogged 22 and 11. And then actually against Chicago, his most recent game, he played over 30 minutes.
Hey, round of applause. But you see how much of a damn shame that is?
You didn't, hey, but you didn't need Google to tell me that he plays over 20, that he hasn't played a game over 24. Maybe Google.
I didn't tell you. I
would have helped.
I asked you a
Would have
question.
helped.
I asked you a question. I asked you a question.
He can play more than 25 minutes, so we're good.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
I didn't say if he could or he couldn't. I asked you, has he?
I
Because
said the answer
he don't
yes.
average that. I seen a bunch of games in his game log because I watch basketball on a
I
nightly
watched it
basis.
too, very obviously.
Not just when I have a laptop in front of me, and I was seeing.
You got two screens. You got
he's
the
not a
luxury of
guy.
two. I got one right here.
You know what I'm saying? Well, start watching, and you could be able to do that.
I'm just saying that's why I was able to pick Walker Kessler.
No, you pick Walker Kessler because he was the last thing left in your mind.
He was round 3.
That's bad. Your team suck, man. Why are you steady talking to me about this pick? That team suck.
That's fine.
Can you be Riv's team?
Luka Doncic is Luka Doncic.
What's wrong with my team?
So I'm going across the table. Damn. Hold up. Put the gun down. I'm just trying to say, if y'all had to vote, who got the worst team here?
Man said I was dick riding.
It is your team.
about if that's the case, if you think
unfortunately, I probably would have to. It's just so odd.
Tyrese Halliburton's been one of the best players of the game.
It's
John
just you have a
Morant's one
small
of the best of the
backcourt. That's
game.
the thing. You have a small ass backcourt.
Yeah, no, you have to soften it up for him and
Problem with your
sugarcoat it.
team
He got the worst
It's the
team.
fit. That's it.
It's
Yeah, you're fit,
oddly.
Y'all
It's one of the
sugarcoat
most
it. He got
talented
the
with
worst
the
team.
fit.
You have talent on your team. It's just the fit of the team.
Listen, you got the Lakers were more talented with Russ. You traded him. What happened?
Were we more talented?
And that's why he struggles drafting his teams, because he's a Laker guy and he never, you see, Drew never wants to make the cohesion. That's why when we said that, you was like, you got to draft the team. He's like, oh, really?
He
Because
did say
that's
that.
that's the
And
Laker
I'll tell you what,
mentality.
dude, that's the
The
best
Laker
thing he's
mentality
made
is,
this
man,
entire in this
he got 90
entire
million
thing. That was a
followers. I'm gonna
great-
put him
that
on my
was a great
team.
idea.
Russell Westbrook got his own shoe. Let's put him on our team.
Why not? You like that?
Vibes.
Why not?
good
Is
time.
We got some.
That's his statement.
We got some comments from this.
What they saying?
Loose Thought says, "I'm not guarding anyone from 3 on Drew's team. Pack that paint, baby."
Oh, I mean, you got Hallie.
leave Halliburton open
Well, no, you guard Hallie. You just leave everybody
and
else
leave
open.
Scotty open. That's cool.
You live or die. bro.
I agree
You
with
live
this
or die,
comment.
Scotty.
Darth Revan 242 said, "Damn, Drew don't deserve this."
He don't, but he brought it up
No,
on
the
himself
dick
'cause he
riding
kept
shit,
pushing.
Pete, you went crazy. You
What
went
did I
crazy
say?
on that. The dick riding
He said
LeBron.
you
Come
hop
on.
on.
That was
I didn't
crazy.
say Dick Ride. I
You
said
said
And
hopped
you
on a
probably-
man.
and you're probably a Chiefs fan too. Come on, Pete. You know me better than that. Come on.
yeah, I had to remember. You're
Yeah,
not
you
a
were
Chiefs
going
fan.
crazy
You're a
for
Brock
some
fan. You
crazy
hopped on
shit.
Peyton Manning. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I've been in hell for God knows how long. Last 7 years of my life.
Last 7 years.
And
But-
that's gonna do it for episode.
Go ahead,
You
Pete,
got
go
something to
ahead.
say, Pierre?
I love Drew. So
I love you too.
Don't take
I
too
love
much
you
of
too.
it.
We're talking this. That's why the show is amazing.
But that's what happened. That's the price of being a hopper.
I mean, if that's the case,
Oh, real? Why you laughing? You got 13.
I know what I am. You can't hurt me.
You the Lori Harvey of fandom.
oh,
Lloyd Harvey's bad.
she is.
You're bad too.
You're
You
good
bad
looking dude.
too.
I'm wrong with that.
And that's gonna do it for episode 326 of the Pick Aside Podcast with Pierre. Shout out to him for
Shout out
pulling up.
P, man.
You guys can follow us on Twitter at Pick Aside Pod, on Instagram and TikTok at Pick Aside
Go
Podcast.
watch Heliocentric. Go listen.
Mr.
Yes, sir.
Mr. The
that.
Plug, before we get out of here, as
Yes, sir.
always, is there anything that you want to shout out before you go, sir?
Shout out, pick a side, baby.
Sappy.
Shout out to the Heliocentric. Listen, he doesn't need an introduction on that. Make sure you guys go ahead and tune into that. Mr. The Plug, always a
Appreciate
pleasure.
you shouting us on Twitter too, man. That's love.
That was
Fire,
fire.
man.
Yeah,
we done been in the club together. Once you be in the club together, and everything you automatically family.
Winsky.
Thank you guys for
KB
watching.
done wore Drew pants.
Oh man,
That's the truth, man. That's an
was a
all-time
great night.
all-time moment.
That was a great
I'm
night.
surprised they fit, man.
They didn't.
They didn't.
They did
No,
not
they didn't.
fit.
I don't know how he was walking around there
Hey,
with that.
he looked like
around
he
his
was comfortable
ankles,
as
bro.
shit.
Nah, they definitely fit him well. They were some skinny
He looked
jeans.
very comfortable.
Nah,
he
bro,
was
but
walking around calm.
he had those things rolled up like 6-7 times.
Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.